Hello,
Hey,
hey, how's
what's up,
everybody
man?
doing? I think it wouldn't be a typical let it out if there wasn't a little bit of technical difficulty at the very, very beginning. So I apologize for a little bit of that delay. But it is January 23rd, and it's Vic and Gerald coming right back at you for another edition of Comics Cast Let It Out. Vic, say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone.
He's the man with the perfect lighting. I tell you, I've been getting so many compliments on your behalf in terms of how good you look and how good your room looks. I have my blank wall, my sexy blank wall here. Yours is just uber sexy there.
Yeah, but if I was
But
if I was gonna turn my camera, you'd just see all my junk on the other
same,
side.
same here. You don't see what's on the other side here.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is another edition of Comics Cast Let It Out. And hey, let's just talk about what Let It Out is and what Comics Cast is. Comics Cast is a group that focuses on indie creators. If you're in the indie comic community, if you're an indie creator, if you're a penciler, inker, publisher, author, you name it. If you're in the indie comics field, we want to get eyes on you. We want you to be a guest on our show, which is this show, Let It Out. And Let It Out is what y'all came here for. It's a show that allows us to do an interview with said creators, indie creators, and we have a little bit of a drawing component. And our interviews are more conversational. They're not the strict Q&A. We want it to be a good time. We want things to just form organically, and that's what Comics Cast Let It Out is all about. And my wonderful co-host here, he's already got our YouTube page here. We're not going to go and show the plethora of videos, but just check out Indie Comics Cast on YouTube. If you found us through Facebook, we appreciate that. But yeah, like and subscribe. We want to push social media this year. We want to make sure that we get those likes and subscribers and followers, because the more eyes or more subscribers that we get on Comics Cast, obviously that equates to more eyes on our indie creators, but also allows us to get those tools that are kind of like taken away from us until we get a certain number of subscribers. So like and subscribe, spread the word. Indie Comics Cast on YouTube, just Comics Cast on Facebook. We're going to be pushing really hard to get our social media out there so we can do more good for the indie community. And as Joe Tolliver says, who's our partner, the captain of the ship, who's the co-founder of Comics Cast, unite the community. That's what we want to do. We want to unite the indie community. So enough of that Comics Cast housekeeping. Let's get to the nitty gritty part of the show, which is our wonderful guest for today. So I'm going to do the virtual drum roll here. I'm going to get this right here, and I think we'll get Vic to add them in.
Yeah.
We got it. I want to welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, I want to welcome.
What's up, guys?
Returning guests Erfan Fajar and Charles Dobes. And together, they're working on a great comic called Essence. If you remember the show back in September, they were our guests, and we were treated to some phenomenal artwork, phenomenal story. And it's great to have you guys on the show again, because Charles has been telling me that there's some big news that he'd like to share with us. And Erfan, he's just plugging away. Anything that he does, I see new art from him, and it just blows my mind. We're going to talk about that. We're just jump right back in we're going to, I guess, finish. It's going to be part 2 of the interview that we had with you guys last year. And you can see Charles was busy typing away.
I'm still gonna be doing it.
Yeah, he was like, if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine. Because right now, I'm going to bring up a PDF here. So let me add this to stream. And yeah, we have right now some of Erfan's phenomenal art. So what I'm going to do, we're going to show this, and we're going to we're going to be a little different in terms of how we do this. We're not really going to do the typical elevator pitch. We're just going to jump right into the PDFs, talk about the arts, and begin the conversational interview that I was talking about. So as we look at this artwork, let's just I don't know, Vic, do you feel like you want to kick us off with your first question, or do you want to just or do you want me to lead?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
be sitting here in awe.
Okay, no problem.
When everybody sees his artwork, their jaw's gonna drop. This stuff is fantastic.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. We'll start off here, because this is artwork that is not Essence related. This is strictly Erfan, and let's go ahead and get this look at this work. And like Vic said, I mean, I was in awe last time when you shared some of your art. I'm in awe even more. Can you be in awe? Or always, I don't know what the word is, but we're looking at this, and
Hello.
hello. I'm just looking at this, and when I look at your artwork, this is something that Vic and I kind of like were picking apart here when we were analyzing your art. Is that you use these textured brushes, in ways that I don't even think that I would even think to use. It's just so neat. Like based on what you're doing, I mean, what you do now, do you do your initial compositions and then work in the brushes, or is it just 100% intentional and you just do the brush work right there, right there at the beginning?
For this one, yeah.
Yes.
I try to remember. I think mostly I have the concept very rough in my head, and then when you starting to draw and you kind of feel it that putting many objects on the drawing first. You see
Yes.
the bird was never been in the original idea, but when you compositing the whole composition and how about if I put some bird here, some bird there, some flower there, just to mix
Yes.
to make the composition look pleasing, something like that. And for the
Yeah.
brushes, usually I use different brushes when I'm drawing my personal artwork instead or on my comic work. If you do comic, you usually do some clean line arts, inks, so the colorist will very easy to color it. But if personal artwork, I will just playing around, so it will look more expressive. Yeah, because if you do line art like this, the coloring will be a lot more difficult to handle actually, because you cannot just fill the color. You have to there's so much to what's the word, to
fill,
try to yeah.
Because I noticed like since you're using these textured brushes, it's not like you can like use a tool and just fill the entire object, because you have like lines that kind of like break up the forms.
Yeah.
So it's like you do your coloring yourself too, right? This is
right.
Yeah.
It's very annoying to color my own. Look at the lines is breaking up and
yeah, I was. It's funny that you say that. I mean, for those of us who don't do digital coloring, it's like there are tools that allow you to, like, if you have if we're just looking at this at her face here, if you want to fill this area, it would be fairly simple, because you can like just use the paint bucket tool and kind of like just drop in color. But then if you were like to do like this rose, you couldn't quite do that, because there's so many textured lines in there that you have to basically go manually and start coloring in. But I'm looking at this and it's just, sure, it's a pain in the butt, and you're probably having that conversation with yourself. It's like, Erfan, you're so annoying. Why did you use those textured brushes? It's like, and it's when I look at this particular piece, it kind of reminded me, if you guys remember that Asian director John Woo. I don't know if you remember him. He did Hard Boiled. He did I think Mission Impossible 2, and he would always have like doves or birds that would kind of like. And I was like, when I looked at this piece, I go, "Oh, this is Erfan trying to be all John Woo."
I like Roy's comment. Erfan and his generic brushes.
Oh yes,
they're anything but.
Let's talk about that too. Are your
Erfan, you need to release a brush pack.
This is
your own brush pack and
brush pack.
Yeah,
I think I'm just using the original, not original, but the.
Oh really?
Photoshop has their own brushes that we can just download from their site. So this is one of their. So I'm not making my own brushes. I just pick which one that I probably fit for my style. So I'm not making my own brushes.
Okay, so
probably just adjust a little bit, but no, this is pretty much Photoshop brushes.
I see.
Yeah,
hey, well, that's enough. You adjusted a little bit, and now it goes from a Photoshop brush to an Erfan brush. So
absolutely.
But anyway, so looking at this piece, I'm going to keep on going down here. But just this particular piece, how many different brushes did you use? Do you recall? Is this like
brush?
Yeah, is it like
I think just one.
What?
Oh no. There's others. So
Okay.
yeah. I try to remember. The line art. The line art. I'm just using one, which is
One brush. Yes.
There is what one stroke can produce like four lines. If
Yes.
yes, one stroke can produce 4 lines. I think that's for the line art, and then some texture, some shading, using another brush that will mimic the hatching.
Yes.
Yes, and probably some of them. I cannot remember everything, but
okay.
because sometimes this brush is okay. Let me try it.
Okay, so
very motoric. Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't guessed, this is Gerald trying to like pick Erfan's brain. Is like say, okay, I'm writing down how many brushes he uses because, it's like that whole myth. If I can find out what brushes an artist that I like uses, then maybe, just maybe, I can draw just like them. That's exactly what it is.
The cloud? The cloud is I'm using the layer. Photoshop has
a noise. A noise layer.
No. The lines is different than the on the the cloud, and different from the usual lines. Just one lines. It's using the layer styles.
Layer style, yes.
Layer styles. Okay. The Photoshop layer styles has that stroke, outer stroke.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I'm using that styles. So this is why I'm always using Photoshop, because it has the layer styles. Clip Studio Paint has it, but just one stroke. Photoshop has very.
That's
very
a little callback from
your
guys' last episode. Here we go.
Oh, nobody's first. Okay,
first.
To get what that inside joke is, you're gonna have to go watch the episode from September, because that's an inside joke that goes to show the kind of relationship that Charles has with Erfan. But don't go watch it now. Let's stay focused on this. But okay, let's keep on going, because I really want to show some of these new art pieces that Erfan shared with us. When I saw this piece, I'm a big fan of Hiroaki Samura. I probably butchered his name, but he did Blade of the Immortal, and I saw this, and I thought this was Kanji. I thought this was him, but
Manji,
or Manji, not Kanji. Kanji is the Japanese character. I just embarrassed myself. Okay, Manji, yeah. But look how. Vic, look at this. I mean, it's just so rich. I mean,
the use of color, like the way he goes from cool to warm tones to make this thing pop. This image is fantastic.
Yeah, it's very.
I mean, when you go into these, do you have an idea of colors you're going to be using? How you're going to be coloring it, or is it just as you go along you start thinking of?
I think
what colors.
Yeah, when I go along, I starting to decide to the color. But the basic idea is the warm meets the cool color. That's the basic principle. Usually, I'm using for my work. So I'm just putting here where I have to put the warm and the cool one where.
What I love so much is like you come in here with his clothes and you have all this detail on all his clothing and everything, but the blood splatter looks like it's just a flat color, just so it pops. Like
it's a nice contrast. That is green.
The stroke technique appears again.
It's like Erfan's like going, yeah, that's 100% intentional, but really I just didn't want to put any more detail on it. That's what it was. But it's Vic makes a really good point, because look at the chains too. This is a good example of I think Erfan is really a master of knowing where to render and where to not render. And when you render, when you put those two together, it actually adds depth, and it actually will create. It's like visually it becomes more striking, because like these chains, for example, you don't go in there. I mean, you do have every link, but you're not drawing the connecting, like the parts where they overlap each other. It's enough that you can, your mind, whoever's looking at it, is going to visually already associate those being as chains, and you having to over render it, by putting shadow and showing every little link as it goes together. You don't have to do that. because you don't really want to emphasize the chains. You want to emphasize the character, and I just think that that's really cool. And I know that another thing about you is that from when I've looked at your artwork, is that you're very knowledgeable of ancient weapons, and you were like give a little bio of like where that particular weapon, what period of Japanese history or Asian, Pacific Rim country, wherever the weapon came from. You would actually give a little bit of a history lesson.
Thanks to Wikipedia.
It's Wikipedia. Oh, okay.
No, I'm not that not that expert, but I do like how it looks. I mean, Japanese weapon. Yeah. It looks very how to say it. I just like those kind of weapons.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Well, there's an artistry in the weaponry, and like here even the guard. It's just neat. It's like it could be it's ornamental, and even the wrapping that goes around the handle of the sword. Just so much artistry, that goes into it. And let's just keep on going down some of this art here that we have. We go back, we zoom out here. So we have this. So we go from that really, really bloody composition to like this. And this is like, I couldn't help but like be drawn to her eyes. It's just very, you flipped it. It just shows the versatility of your art style. Being able to go from the composition we just saw, which was very vibrant in color, to this one being almost like just gray tones with some hints of maybe a little bit of warm grays that almost make it look a little golden. You want to talk a little bit about this particular composition? Is this one of your original characters?
No, but this is there's a story behind this one. Because have you ever experienced when you sleep and then somebody came into your dream, like this girl, but not like this? The original one is very scary. like you cannot move.
Oh,
things like that.
Like you're paralyzed.
Yeah, like that. That's very, very scary. I mean, but I cannot move. But I don't feel anything. I mean, I'm not that scary people that scared of ghosts. No, I'm not that type. So I was like sleeping and she was in front of me like this for a very long time.
Oh my!
I was just looking at her face like, wow, that's so many teeth. Wow, the eyes are very scary.
Yeah.
When I wake up, I want to draw her, but
what?
In a beautiful form.
Okay.
This could be a
He Disneyfied her.
Yes, that's right. I was gonna say, you're talking about this character appearing in your dreams and paralyzing you, and Vic and I are probably like going, "She's not so bad. I don't mind getting paralyzed in this so-called nightmare." But I think what Charles said, he Disneyfied her, but you did capture her gaze. It would almost be kind of cool if you did a version. You did this really nice version, which is not too nightmarish, but you did another version, which is the nightmare version, where she scared you and paralyzed you. But it is kind of neat. I've never heard of this. Like, when I have a dream, I remember even if it's a good dream or a nightmare, I'll either wake up like in, totally horrified, but then I'll forget exactly what was scaring me.
Right.
Or if it was a good dream, it's like I'm like trying to like pick my brain. It's like, come on, I have to remember the good dream. But I like this. You're able to translate that into artwork. And again, your use of like this hatching technique.
This one another brush, right?
It's so neat. Oops, is it like? I think my computer choked there. Yeah, when you look at the textures that you create, I don't. Maybe they do this in Indonesia. I have no idea. But the way I look at it, it's like Erfan is the only artist that I know who does hatch work like this. I don't know. Vic, do you know of any artist that does things like this? I mean, it almost has like a Andy Warhol kind of like when he would use like halftone screens to create like certain effects.
It has like a paper. It looks like a paper texture. It makes it look like old artwork.
Yeah,
like just like the rough paper look to it, but the hatching and all these lines right here.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
And when I do,
I'm stealing some of these techniques, Erfan.
Yeah, we're gonna say, hey, I would love it if Erfan were to do like a, you could do your own, tutorials, and people would pay money to see how you do these things, because I'm looking at this too. When I try and do a line that isn't like a single stroke, it's called wonky. That's what happens to me. But when you do a a line that forms a form, and it's like they're evenly spaced. It doesn't look wonky. It looks like, look at these fingernails. Where it's like your lines are, even though it's not a single line, it's multiple lines that form a form. That sounds so bad.
It's very stylized.
Yes. Yeah. And it's 100% intentional.
It's like, you look at this and it's Erfan. Like,
and it's
personally, I've never seen anybody else do something like anything like this. So it looks amazing.
Yeah.
What's amazing about it is, like, if you back out, like, when you zoom into his artwork, you see all these details. Like, you're looking at this piece and it's gorgeous. And then you zoom in and you can see all the little things he did to bring this to life, and it's amazing. Again, I'm gonna borrow this from you, Erfan.
I know. I think we all are seeing this. I mean, look at this.
Here we go. See, look at Erfan. Look at Erfan. Do you have an art book or a sketchbook for sale?
Yeah.
No, I don't have.
I think you need to get on that.
Get on it.
Yeah. Usually, there is a lot of, what do you call, convention back then. So people were making sketchbook
in the before times.
Yeah. But now there are any convention. So we as an artist not making much of sketchbook or anything like that.
Well, do it, and I'll even pay. I'll pay the ridiculous overseas shipping to actually have a physical. Because that's another thing. It's like, you can get like, Erfan has been so cool about sharing his artwork on his own page. Definitely go check it out on Facebook and DeviantArt. But it's one thing to like to actually have a physical copy of his artwork. Even if it's in a sketchbook or an art book, to see those things and just like hold it in your hands. But it's really cool to see. Here, I mean, Roy Mercado mentioned him being a master of positive negative space. This is another example of that. I mean, just check that out. Because you're using this negative space in the background, but it's not overly rendered. It's pure white. I mean, Saeed, it is beautiful and haunting. That's a good way to put it. Is this an original character of yours, Erfan, or is this from like?
I don't know what character is this. I just want to make something. Character playing guitar, and I don't know, just making something random.
Yeah, playing guitar. Yeah. Oh, when I look at it, it's like, seeing this is like, I mean, it's crazy good. Just really, really amazing artwork. Let's keep on going here.
Yeah. As for negative space, right? Yeah. For negative space, I think it's very hard to learn personally. I mean, sometimes myself too focusing on details, and at the end, the page is full of something that doesn't need to be there. Yeah. So learning the negative space is very, very interesting journey. I like. Do you know Travis Charles?
Yes, of course.
He's very
godlike
on using a negative space. Yeah. His drawing is very detailed and simple at the same time, because the negative space composition was like, oh yeah. I like his work a lot.
Yeah, Travis Charles,
he's fantastic.
Right.
But how did you say his name? I need to learn it.
Travis Charles. I don't know. Travis Charles.
Okay, we said it the same. I don't know if I say it right. Travis
I know. Yeah. We're gonna learn from the Indonesian how to pronounce American. So it's like, but Travis Charles, great artist, and it's so cool that you're inspired by him.
Amazing artwork.
Because this is what I think is really, I guess, is a lesson to a lot of artists that are up and coming, is that you can have your favorite artist, if you're a big fan of Travis Charest, but you don't find yourself, copying, his exact style. You're like learning from his techniques and incorporating it into your style. So then you, by that, you end up developing your own identity, your own style. But you can see the root of your style, like the inspiration of your style. I can see Travis Charest in here now that you mention it. And you're talking about negative space. Here's a question that I don't know if anybody else was thinking about this. So like, do you do the entire composition and then subtract? Like, hey, I think negative space needs to be here, or now do you have such a keen sense of awareness that it's like, I know where the negative space is. I don't need to subtract. What is your technique in that respect?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably when I'm drawing, I have like a rough image of where the negative space will be in the preliminary sketches, because the sketches will be like just black or white, some silhouette things without the detail. So black and white, really rough. So I can decide where is the negative space. But when you're drawing, I just subtracting, I guess,
subtracting afterwards.
Yes.
Okay. We have a few more art pieces before we get into the
this one. This one is just.
Oh yes, I
was picking this one apart. Yeah.
This is obviously a flat image, but it looks so three-dimensional with your water effects. I've never seen a water effect that looks like this. And then you do this thing where her face looks so attractive above the waterline, and then it gets monstrous as it goes below the waterline. And then you put these fish in there, and then you have the lily pads. Again, this is another example of you not having to over render it. You're just using it as negative space, and then I immediately see that this is a lily pad, but you didn't have to draw it, and it just adds that extra like Erfan touch to it. What is your thought behind this? Was this like was this original character too, or is this something that was in the back of your mind, said I got to do a lily pad monster? Or
this is a original character, I guess. But the thinking behind this was the negative space, the first one. So I want to draw a lily pad. The character is the latest thing I will think, but I want to draw somebody on a pond with the lily pad. That's it. And I just make the composition, and then there's the character. Oh, I should put she's like here, like that, and then the fish come later.
Yeah.
Because I already put the negative space, the lily pad here, and then the character.
Yeah.
So I think just like that. Global concept. Yeah.
It's the colors. You're even like if you're just going to look at just the line art, it's impressive. But then when you add the additional color, it just makes it pop. Your choice of color palette, with these muted tones to show the underneath the water line, and then you add this little bit of cuteness to it. Let's put a lily pad on top of her head. It's like from a distance with a frog on it. I was like thinking, oh, this. At first I thought it was like some sort of hat or something like that, but then I realized, oh no, it's a lily pad with a frog on it.
Ray says, "Is it just me, or does it give a strong Mobius feel?" It's so awesome.
Are you a fan of Mobius? Do you know who Mobius?
I know Mobius, but yeah. Interesting artwork. Mobius is wonderful. I think I remember this artwork has their own monochrome version. The original one is monochrome. So this one is I lay out more color based on the grayscale before. So I put the grayscale first. The shading, the shape, the foreground and background is already laid out before the color.
I see.
So I'm the type of the gray into color, not putting the color first. Yeah.
I think that's what makes this composition work so well, is because when you nail all the gray tones, you get all the tonal values right, or it feels correct to you. Then when you put the color on top of it, the color just accentuates it. So by doing the gray tones, you block everything out, and it allows for the composition to stand alone before you even put the color, and the color just enhances it. It just takes it to another level. And then
what's amazing also is like we'll show his artwork coming up. But he has this style, and then he has the style he's doing in Essence. And you know, you look at it and you're like, oh wow, like
he's very versatile.
He could go, he could do this highly detailed, or he could do this you know, the style he does for Essence, which tonally fits the book. It's amazing. Charles, did you know he could do both before you? Like,
no, so how I met Erfan was through Fariza. Fariza's the guy. He's the colorist of with the previous artist, and I asked him if he knew people to get in on the project when Chris was gonna go work for his brother, and he suggested Erfan, and Erfan was getting to the end of his current contract with where's the company at, Erfan?
Before Bumi Langit? Yes, the name is Bumi Langit.
Yeah, he was working with them, and his contract ended, and it happened to be right in time for when I needed the artist, and so I waited a couple extra months for him to become available because I really liked his artwork. I saw his artwork. Erfan Fariza showed his work to me, and so it worked out pretty well. And he wanted to be able to not have to basically do a full page every single day for the company to earn the same amount that he would be making through me paying him.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, this next art piece is what sold Charles on Erfan's artwork. It was this one. He sort of said, I saw this cat and I said, this is the guy that I want for Essence. This whole piece embodies Essence. You know, this is why I want to. That's a joke. That's joking. That's not exactly it.
Too bad it's not a possum.
Yeah, it's not too bad because then it would be true if it was a possum. But what I we just showed all this other artwork earlier, and looking at this is another part of the versatility of Erfan's artwork. You know, you're going to see like a different style that he's using for Essence, but it's still 100% Erfan. But you can also see this. We saw all those pieces before this, and then we get this. You can see that Erfan has a funny side. He has a humor. You can put humor in his artwork, and you got to watch our last episode from back in September. There was definitely a lot of humor going around, and I think that's one of the really.
That's another reason why I like Erfan so much is because he has that personality where he can add the humor in, and it actually fits really well into the story. It's kind of like Krunk's Elf Adventures with Kyle. Both of them have very good personalities in terms of like not only do they work well together, but they also have good personalities, and they have the humor along with the seriousness and the professional quality.
I couldn't have said it better myself, because it's very hard to draw humor. I mean, you could be like you could be like Jim Lee or something, and you just be able to render anything. But then to do humor, that's in itself like another quality that's just really hard to work into your artwork. And we're gonna see when we get to Essence, the characters go the full gamut of emotions, and everything from complete sorrow to anger to there's some humorous parts to it. And I think just like Charles said, he recognized that in Erfan. And I'm going to show one last piece here before we get into some Essence artwork, because I know you guys are our audience is chomping at the bit to see what the Essence artwork looks like. But this, I just looked at this piece. This is just I think this could be a combination of humor and that in the martial arts thing. It's like all tied into one. We have everything. It's just funny. I saw this. There's a hammer here. There's a
Erfan does love his Tekken. Or no, it's not Tekken. It's Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, yes. Erfan is a big fan of like fighting video games. So if he isn't like doing like crazy good illustrations like this and being a great dad, because there's a couple times where I've had to talk, want to talk to him. He's like, "Oh, I'm picking up my kids. Can't talk to you right now."
Yeah.
If he's not doing that, he's doing kick-ass art like this, and it's just amazing. I don't even know how I could pull this off. If somebody told me I want you to do like this really, super cool, badass fighter, but I want you to have like these arms coming out of his back, and I want one of them with a smartphone and a hammer. That's like, I don't even know how I would be able to like.
Jimmy says, "Don't attack that guy from behind."
Yes, exactly.
So well, Erfan always has his back turned to him, so.
Okay.
It's like the part where you get them in a corner and you just hit the bottom of their feet, and it's just like getting them into a lock.
Yes, it's like, yeah, you'll never get the drop on Erfan because he has arms coming out of his back.
You just can't block all of them.
No, you can't block all of them. So Erfan, this is the last piece that we're going to show of yours. What do you think? I mean, what was the idea behind this? Is this like an original character? Is this a character from a fighting game? What was your thoughts on this?
I try to remember this. I think I drew a lot of artwork that contain Japanese weapon, right? Before.
Well, Roy asked if this was a medieval Japanese knockoff.
Yeah. Dr. Octopus. It's like Dr.
Octopus, yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead, Erfan.
But each of them is a girl, a woman, and I want to draw a man version of that. Yeah. So, many people complaining of an artist always draw a beautiful woman. Why always woman? Why always woman? This is one of the reasoning that I'm not always draw woman. I can draw a badass guy.
Yeah.
So I put everything, all of the weapon into a guy instead of one weapon into many girls. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasoning of this artwork. So yeah, okay. That's very simple, I think.
Okay, so this art piece,
there's a cool guy.
This art piece was to put all the haters to rest and say, right. I can draw not only badass females, I can draw badass males, but not only that, I'm going to make it so that he has every weapon conceivable at his disposal, and he can do it without looking at you. So this is like the culmination piece to show that Erfan. I mean, it's just amazing. Every art piece that I look at that we've shown here, it just raises the bar. I'm just seeing all sorts of neat things, and like Vic said, we're just gonna have to try and find ways to copy it, and figure out how to integrate Erfan style into
borrow. We're gonna borrow.
Oh yes, borrow. I'm sorry. Did I say steal? I meant borrow. Borrow. Yes.
Well, in the music industry, it's called sampling.
Sampling. Yes, we're sampling. Yeah. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm inspired. I'm inspired to borrow. Yeah. All right. So let's get to Vic had that great question to Charles in terms of like how they connected, and when they connected, this is the result. We got essence, and here we go. Let's go into seeing some of this stuff. So this is where, Charles, I'd like you to kind of take the lead in here and talking a little bit about all this new Essence artwork that we're going to share today, and just pick up from where we talked about in September, about where you guys left off and talking about now that you have you guys are connected, and now you're telling the Essence story, and there's going to be new characters. We're going to get to see more warriors. Just tell us what we can look forward to now that we're moving forward.
So last year I got to release Volume 1 because we ended up redoing a large part of it, and so that's why it took so long to get the new Volume 1 out after that Kickstarter, is because we wanted to redo it because there were some mistakes that were pointed out to me from my friend John Carter, and also Ramel Hill. So we ended up fixing it up, cleaning it up, and John's been helping me in answering questions that I have and pointing out mistakes. And obviously there's a lot of trial and error that comes with it because it's going to be a process. But since Erfan has joined, he also has a lot of that professional experience too. So he pinpoints certain things, or he'll add a panel here, and so it makes it he's able to bring out a better part of the story. So this double page right here is the banner that we created to kind of cover the entire full season, first season of Essence. You get Vitus, who's sitting on the lily pad tree. Then you've got all the 12 characters, and then you've got Era, who's in the background, and she's kind of like the protector of all these characters. So she's sitting there in the background, and she's just got this really intense stare. And she actually, I got that from a page that Erfan had done in one of the pages, and I was like, I really like that expression that she gave. So I was like, let's add it to this double page because it's just very intense and has a very strong feel. But I also wanted the cuteness in there, so I had make Vitus sitting on the lily pad tree have this cute expression. So you have all this intensity all around Vitus, but she's just this cute little factor. So it gives you a different feel when you actually notice that.
Yeah, I when I looked at this too, it's like it's so neat. There's so many characters. I mean, this is like the Avengers, assembled picture. Having all 12 warriors here, and then the gaze that's in here. I want to say maybe that gaze was inspired by something out of Erfan's Nightmare. I have no idea, but he was able to translate it. Yeah, he was able to bring it.
No, that's Erfan's expression whenever I ask him to change something.
So Erfan is looking at it in a mirror. He's like, "Oh, I got this gaze that I always give Charles. I'm going to work it into this composition." And he's not going to even know it. That's how it works out. But yeah, it's so neat because this is another difficult thing to pull off. It's like having this many characters in a composition and make it feel balanced, make it feel like it works together. And I can see why Charles is using this as his banner, because this is another thing about Charles that I want to mention. Charles is a grassroots, coming to a city near you kind of guy. He's been hitting the convention circuit, and even though we are in this time of pandemic, he's going out to any con that he can, local or abroad, and just trying to get the word out on Essence. And that's the kind of passion that you need behind a creator. So Charles, I mean, what does 2022 look like for you? Or do you have a convention map out for you?
So far, I am in 9 shows that I've been approved for. I'm potentially approved for, because it took the credit card information and took the payment. So I assume that means they don't have enough tables, so they'll approve me when the time comes. After they reviewed it. So 9 with a potential of 10, and then I've got a couple other shows that I'm hoping I'll get into during the year, like Emerald City, New York, Chicago.
All the big hitters. You're going to be at
all the big ones. Yeah. But it was Florida MegaCon that that took the payment, so I'll wait for their response. But I got into Salt Lake City, Indianapolis, I think it was, Atlanta, and this is all Fan X. They approved me right off the bat, so all 4 shows for them. And then I'm going to be part of Joe Fest. I'm actually a featured guest there. I'm actually on their website.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. So that just goes to show what kind of legwork that Charles is doing. I mean, he's not even content to just being on one coast. I mean, we talked about the entire United States. He's hitting all the corners. I think it'd be kind of cool if you could show up in Indonesia and have Erfan, to be a part, or maybe Erfan.
I was gonna fly him out here once we get big and popular.
Yeah. So hopefully Erfan, you can come here domestically, and if that happens, Charles, you got to let me know, because I will buy a plane ticket to whatever show that the 2 of you guys are at together, because I got to meet you guys. Because look at this artwork; it's just crazy. Let's go into some of the other pieces. I mean, we got to see Erfan do that, I guess his personal style for his personal works. But look at this. I mean, this is for Essence, and you still get that. How would you describe this, Charles? It's like he can still.
When I saw it, Erfan did this on his own. Usually, a lot of times I'm giving the artists. That's another reason why I like Erfan, is because he's able to take direction of his own. He doesn't need direction. Like a lot of other people, like you, to point them out. He was able to pinpoint it, figure it out, and do this on his own without me explaining anything to him, just by him knowing a little bit about Volume 1.
Yeah, amazing work. I guess that's the artist intuition that you get from Erfan. He can take read a little bit about the script, kind of figure out how to build a really nice composition, and this is what you're gonna get. And again, look at these exquisite colors. I mean, the lines. are not those textured brushes. They're more they're more refined, but it still works. It's like this is the versatility in art in style that we were talking about, and these colors too. You're able to create. We have these 4 core characters, and I like how you offset this character and gave her a monochromatic color palette, and that allows her to not compete and make it look like some sort of 4-headed character or something like that. She's
gonna give him a head rub.
Oh, was that one? Oh, yes, I didn't even thought about that. But I'm just saying, this is just a really cool. This just goes to show your color theory. It just really works. It just has a nice quality to it. But then we go into this, and
the spread artwork is originally the bloody sperm, right, Charles?
No, this wasn't the first one. The double page was the one where you did it, where it was Vitus.
Yeah, this one. This is the bloody sperm.
Oh, this is what it was inspired. Okay, so now we know where that came from. So if you watch episode their first appearance, you can watch it and get a laugh about it. And this is what. And it'll be a challenge to figure out where does that scribble fit into this whole thing.
It pops in at 58 minutes.
At 58 minutes. Okay, there you go. You got the time stamp ready to go.
It was either 58 minutes. It's between 58 and 105.
Yeah. Okay, there's your homework. Okay, so we got this piece. Gosh, I mean, look at the transition from this to this. Aside from the color palette, we're using a warmer color palette, but
so this is I think this Erfan, if I'm correct, this was the first one you did. This was our test run.
Right.
And
okay. Cool. Somebody, did we lose? Okay, well, Erfan.
This is the first one when I'm doing the Essence artwork.
Right.
So Charles, I think Fahriza wants to connect me with Charles. So he said that there's somebody want to get help on making the illustration. So I think, I can try that. So I fall in love with the characters, and this one is Charity. Yeah, and this is the first. I think this is the first time I'm entering the Essence universe. And really enjoying making this artwork.
Yeah.
Someone tried calling Charles. Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix was trying to get.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. They saw our show, and Netflix said, "You know what? They're on Comics Cast. We got to sign them up." That's what it was. That's what happened. But yeah,
it says Erfan's art really delivers every single time. I totally agree.
Yeah,
I think this is colored by Fahriza, the colorist of Essence comic. Yeah. I remember this one.
Yeah, it complements it completely. Now I noticed this is obviously your first attempt at it, and I kind of was looking at this and I go, because this character looks older, a little bit older than the characters that we see here. Right. But I think I thought Charles was telling me before, it's sort of like he made a decision as he was writing this that he wanted the characters to be a little bit younger. And I think that's one of the cool things. I think that we get Charles back. Yep, there he is.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I just
no problem.
the screen.
Okay. We were just talking about this particular piece being the test run. So my dad tried calling me, and I'm on my phone, so it caused the whole screen to glitch out. And it just froze on my phone. I mean, it was still working, but okay. So your dad works for Netflix? Is that what it is? No,
I wish.
We were joking around that you got a call from Netflix because they saw you on the show and they said, "We got to hire this guy. We got to do we got to do an Essence animated movie." So
my animator, Jonathan Hallett, he's doing a animatic right now. And if I'm able to get enough coworkers and enough people to back up the full animation of the trailer, we're going to try to get an interview. He has a lawyer that has the connections and everything like that. So we're going to try to get an interview with a network, either Disney, Netflix, Nickelodeon. He has the ability to actually make that happen, which is actually really cool. So that's kind of where we're going to be trying to go with Krunks and Essence at the same time.
Oh, that's so awesome. I can't wait to see what we do with that. But let's keep on going here. I want to show some of the sequentials that you sent me, because we've seen Erfan and Charles, we've seen their work, and we saw Erfan's pinup style work, and we got to see what he did, personally. We got to see what he did, with some of those initial concepts of some of the characters. But now we can see that he's an effective storyteller. So now that Charles and him have come together, these are some examples of that sequential storytelling style that you can expect if you back Essence. And correct me if I'm wrong, these are all from the upcoming volume of Essence that's going to be.
So this is we have 20 pages colored right now. We're waiting on Fariza to finish another 40. He said I think by the end of this month we should have 40 more, so we'll be up to 60. Mm-hmm. So we haven't fully, like, by the end of next month we should have pretty much everything colored, lettered. We'll just be waiting on the cover, a couple of the covers to be finished in March. Mm-hmm. But by the time the Kickstarter's done and over with, and we have the funding, everything is going to be ready and done. It's just, we're just doing the final touches, cleaning everything up right now.
And when did you expect to do that, to launch that Kickstarter? Is it going to be?
It's going to be March 15th.
March 15th. So
these colored pages that we have right now. So like this is the very first page of volume 2. Mm-hmm. It's going to be volume 2 is going to be, I think, 78 pages.
78. Whoa. Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, so mark your calendars, people. March 15th, is that correct?
Yeah.
March 15th. This is where you can get on board. I believe on your crowdfunding, you're going to people will have the opportunity to buy volume 1 as well, right? So if there'll be a catch-up tier. Basically, they can buy volume 1 and volume 2, I take it.
They'll be able to get volume 1, volume 2 from the Kickstarter. They can get volume 1. You can even read the first volume for free on the website, because I want people to get an idea of whether they're interested in it or not. They can also read the first issue of Krunk on the website. It's under Read for Free. Mm-hmm. What's up, Dan?
Oh. Yeah, so here I'm going to go flip through some of the sequentials here. And
I think I gave you the first 8 pages. And it's just to kind of get people an idea. So this is kind of where it leaves off from volume 1, and it's a continuation. Mm-hmm. And the goal is to kind of like in volume 2, we're going to be teaching people, like showing people like what happens after. And this is like where their journey continues to go. And then you're actually going to learn about like the origins of a little bit about the origins, just enough, not all of it, but where they got their powers from. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn a little bit about Vitus, which you'll actually see her. Yep. I think you've got a picture of her above, because I can see it just a little bit on my screen.
I'm teasing it because we're gonna after we finish these sequentials, we're gonna definitely talk about. Or we're going to go actually into the drawing, the live drawing.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be drawing Vitus. So
yeah,
this leaves off. So like, I'm not going to spoil the first volume because I want people to go and read it. But for those of you who know, you'll be able to kind of tell what's going on. Mm-hmm. So like, this is after all the tragic events happened, and now they have to figure out what they're going to do. So now like the volume 2 will kind of answer some of the things that have happened and what's going to hold what their future is going to hold. And we'll actually be introducing one new character in there. We didn't actually get to show any of the pages with Charity, but Charity is going to be in volume 2. So we're not like jumping and adding like 3 or 4 new characters. It's going to be a kind of a slow steady. You'll get to see Era, Charity, and Vitus as the new characters.
So it's not going to be like a complete reveal of all 12 warriors and
no, you're gonna get those gradually all the way through from volume 1 through 7. We've already summarized all the volumes, got them kind of put together, so people will actually get an idea of what. I want people to have time to breathe with each character, get to know them, get to find a character that they really, really love the most, and even in 7 volumes. You don't even get to see what the full potentials of their powers all do. Yes. It's just very little bits and pieces. It's going to take so long to actually get all of the capabilities of what their powers can do.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Vic a little bit about that. I was giving him my own summation of what I thought Essence was about and how the characters are, and it's complex. But it's complex in a good way. The story, to me, very easy to follow, to get behind, but the complexity is building. You start learning the interaction of these 12 warriors, how their powers are blossoming, and then not only that, how their powers interact with each other. And I was trying to tell Vic, I was like going, yeah, like they could
Oh,
do this.
I read it last night.
Oh, you
I
did?
went through it last night. Yeah, I went to read the one he has up there. I went through it really quick. I was just like, I couldn't put it down. I was just like, oh, this is amazing. Then watch the other one. He's like, oh yeah, on your previous episodes you guys came on, you're like, I have like 24 characters coming up. Like, 24.
It's like,
yeah, it's somewhere between. So that's just the kids. Like if you consider Era has the powers, Vitus has powers. You've got the monsters. It's gonna, like, if you consider the monsters, because the kids are going to be completely separated from the monsters, so the monsters will have their own powers. So there's probably going to be well over 60 to 100 different types of powers, and way over that even, because there's going to be a lot more things that I'll be able to do as the series progresses. So even with just the 24 characters, it's probably going to take a good 12. I don't know how many volumes it's going to take to get all those characters introduced, but the main focus will be like the 12 characters, the 12 warriors, because it's their journey. But the other ones will be part of it and pop in here and there. It's going to be crazy. There's just going to be a lot.
Jimmy wants to know what the pet is in the background.
You can see Erfan's expression too. He's like, "Crap, what did I get myself into?"
Okay, Charles. I think we were trying to work in a question here. This particular panel that I froze on because I wanted to go into a little bit of panel analysis here, but Jimmy was asking, who is this pet? Is this going to be like, is this one of the 80 plus characters that's going to be in the?
That is the possum, and he is going to be part of the crew.
This is the possum that I heard about. It was the accidental possum.
Yeah, it was the accident from volume 1. I told Erfan to draw it from the view of a possum, and he drew a possum.
He took it literally. He drew it literally. And,
English.
Well, no, it became a happy accident, and now it's
going to be a really good stuffed animal.
Yeah, this is Erfan was thinking about merchandising. He was thinking about future merchandising for Charles. He said, you know what? You don't have a cute possum character among the 80 to 120 characters that you have floating around in your head. He was just helping you out. He said, everybody needs
we need a marsupial.
Yeah, we do. So, but anyway, I was looking at this sequential page, and I thought this was a really good example of. It's only 2 panels, but this is an example of the Z. I don't know if you guys have really, I think if you look at comic book sequential storyline or storytelling, the Z formation. It's only 2 panels here, but you can see the Z here. And that connection is this background element that leads into the character here in the middle, and then you have the foundation formed by the 3 characters there in the foreground. And I think and then you have the powerful, the eyes. I think Erfan is just really good about moving the character around. You have character in the upper left who's looking right. Then you have the character looking down, which is going into the Z. You got the main character in the middle, and then it's all grounded by these 3 characters at the bottom, and it's done like subconsciously. You're reading it and you're like going, it's easy to follow, and you really don't know why. And I'm telling you why is because this is why Charles got Erfan to work on this, is because he can work this into his composition so easily, effortlessly. And I just looked at this and I was eating it up. I was like, oh man, just really, really, nice style woven in with comic sequential storytelling theory. I don't know if that's actually a word, but it's a thing. But it just works.
Well, one of the things I like to do, so I try to keep it between 4 to 6 panels, but I also like the panels to lead into each other. So one of the things, and I'm still adapting that style for myself. It's not perfect. Erfan does a pretty good job about tweaking it and adding it and fixing it and doing all that stuff. Like I try to make sure that when you turn to a page, one, you can understand everything that's going on that page. I've looked at enough comic books that a lot of pages and a lot of panels, I don't like how they do it, because you can't, like, that you right there with the without dialogue, you can still tell what's going on. You can tell it's a very sad scene. You can understand, but a lot of comic books that I've seen, their pages and the way they do things, it will do one scene, then it'll jump to another, then it'll jump back, or it'll be jumping around a lot, and you can't actually read what's going on in the scene. And that stuff drives me nuts, because you should be able to read and understand at any page you could turn to any page in the book and be able to figure out what's happening, and then just start reading and continuing on without like major. You might be like, oh, I'm missing some information that I might have to go back and look later.
Right.
But you can still continue on the story and not feel like you're missing this insane amount. So I'm still working on it.
So that being said, when you work with Erfan, are you actually like thumbnailing like the page layouts and then letting Erfan?
No. Erfan does all that on his own. So what I do is I just do the script. I put panel. I describe what the page is going to do, and then Erfan does it. But Erfan's really good about like doing the layouts first. When we do the layouts, we figure out, okay, does it look good? I've had Erfan change a lot of things. There's a couple times where Erfan's done a page, and he's finished it, and I'm like, oh, that didn't turn out quite, or I caught something, and he'll end up redoing it. That's what's also really good about Erfan. A lot of artists, if they go to the inking phase, they'll be like, nope, I'm not changing it. But Erfan's like, I want to do what's good for the project, and usually we make sure we agree on it, because I don't want Erfan to just go and start fixing all these random things, and then we decide that it's not a good fix. I try to make sure he agrees with what it is that we're talking about.
Well, that's the nature. I mean, the nature of your relationship. I think that's what's making for a really successful book, because you can have that understanding, be able to collaborate, and then if there are changes being made, it's one thing for Erfan to be very able to receive the constructive criticism, but it's also the speed. Erfan can I remember this is a really a fun story that I could share with you guys, is that there was a particular page that Charles showed me, and he said there was something about this page that I understand where it's going, but it's something that needs to be tweaked or added to it. And just for the fun of it, he wasn't even asking me. I just sort of like say, hey, maybe in that last panel, and I drew on a little Post-it note about about changing the perspective and maybe doing it this way. And I think within like 12 hours, I don't even know if it was even 12 hours.
No. So he already had the layout done. It was for, remember the page where he was lifting his arms up for the lily pad tree?
Yes.
When Charity created the forest?
Yes.
So that took him like an hour, maybe even a half hour.
It was amazing. I thought the page was great already, but you just sort of said, hey, maybe there's going to be something to actually express this particular thing, not necessarily better, but maybe more in a more effective way. And I just scribbled something, and it wasn't the entire page. It was just like one panel. And this is to show you the kind of relationship that both Erfan and Charles have. Is like I sent him the Post-it note. He sent it to Erfan. Erfan was able to, because it was digital, he was able to rework that last panel, add all the embellishments, and make it. And it was just quick. It just goes to show that that kind of relationship works so well, because both of you have you can communicate like easily and just make it work. So very
Charles,
cool. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like Charles has said, he surrounds himself with people that know what they're doing, and having Erfan on it just makes the books even better. Like the book's already fantastic, and bringing Erfan in, you're just everybody's going to be hooked. They got to go check out this book. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
There was so many times when I was reading it where I was like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I was like, oh, Conrad's going to be a bad guy. Wait, no. I was like all over the place.
It was an emotional roller coaster, I think, and seeing them develop and how they gain confidence and how they learn to develop their powers. That's what you can expect. I mean, we read volume 1, and that's what you can do. And here it's also, they all have powers, but what's unique about Essence is that it's combining their powers, how they combine their powers, how they use that to achieve their goals. It's pretty neat to see that whole thing. And it was hard for me to wrap my mind about all the different possibilities. Here we just have 4 characters and their powers and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, the fight scene. So coming in with the volume. So I've already got volume 3 scripted, and Erfan already got to see the struggles that I went through trying to put that together. It took me about 4 weeks to put the fight scene together, because when you've got 5, like we have 5 characters in volume 2 and 3 that are going to end up fighting the monsters. And again, I won't go into details, but it took a lot of work working around it because there are so many different possibilities that you can have with their abilities sharing. And I wanted to be creative, and I wanted to just really blow it out of the water so that when people get to that very first major fight scene, they're just like, holy crap, now I understand what Charlie's talking about with the whole sharing abilities and how extreme this can get. But I also want them to see that, like, you've got these overpowered abilities. What are you going to do with them? How are you going to counteract the fact that they are these super beings that are just insanely strong? How are you going to have an enemy that goes against them? Because obviously you can't just have them fighting each other forever. You have to come up with an enemy. So we do have that.
I gotcha. All right, and so like this last panel, I mean, we went from the, like, again, this is a props to your colorists too in terms of handling this, because these are not colored by Erfan. These are colored by Fariza. Yes. We went from these warm palettes. Now look at this particular. This is like cosmic. This is like, feels like it's like in outer space, and then you have all these devastation of these boulders all around Conrad. And this character here, this is going to be introduced in volume 2. You want to?
Yeah, that's Era. So Era, I don't want to go too much into detail with her because she's got her own journey that she's going to have to explain later on, and I don't. That's one of the reasons why I only have a certain number of pages in volume 2 is because I want her to be a mystery in terms of like where she comes into play. Like you'll know that she gave she's the one that gave the kids the powers. You'll know that she did this and this and this, but I want there to be some level of mystery so that like later on we have like either a movie that we can have or do figure out what we want to do with it. We don't have to do it in the first season. The first season should focus on getting to know the kids and then have her and Vitus be like, okay, what are their sole purposes, or where do they come from?
And that being said, this is the last thing that I'll show that will lead into our live drawing. Our first live drawing is that you mentioned Vitus, and I purposely didn't show it. I was up here, but I'm going to show it now. So heads up, this is what we're going to be showing. We will be showing, and this is going to be our first live drawing challenge here. And this is the character. And I don't even have words. It's just an incredible piece of artwork, but I know this is going to be a powerful character in the Essence universe. Charles, you want to tell us?
Oh, I've got my phone. My phone has the pictures on it. I wish I could. Where's my iPad? I should have brought my iPad down here.
Okay, well, I'm sure that we can still go forward here. You want to talk about Vitus and without spoiling it or whatever, who she is and what she's about?
So Vitus is pretty much the most one of the most powerful being that contains essence.
Oh, you got somebody.
Oh, well, he can read it. Thanks, Noel. He can actually read it on the website, and then we'll have volume 2 pretty soon, and I can send it to you there. So Vitus is the most powerful being. Oh, Jimmy got the iPad for me. One sec.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
I don't
that
know
background
if I have
took forever.
pictures on here. It's dead.
Oh, no. All right. Plug it in and charge it, and then
okay. So that's what I get for leaving it on. So anyway, Vitus is the most powerful being. That contains essence, and essence is the life force. And I won't go into like because her origin is explained, as well as the little guardian people. And did we add a page with the guardians in there?
I don't think I have that page. These are the only pages I have from Essence, but that'll be something that people have.
Dang, I forgot to add that. So,
okay.
We get to learn.
If you want to send it to me later, we can definitely just drop it in the chat.
I can send you something here in a sec while you guys are drawing.
Yes,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So Vitus is basically the most powerful being. She's like all the essence colors put together. So you notice that each kid or each child warrior has like an essence color. It's their chakra. It's their life force. It's what they use to manifest their powers and use their powers. So she's like basically the accumulation of all of it. And what makes her unique is the fact that like, even when you look at like her, if you put her into any other universe, it would make her broken because she can actually tap in and use the essence of any being and use their powers. So she can use the powers of all the kids. She can use any being that has essence.
Okay.
So that puts her in a.
I want you to save that, because when we do, this is our first live drawing challenge, and I want you to save a little bit more, because I don't want you to spoil everything, but you can go into some of those finer details, especially about her character design. You know, I'd love to hear, you know, the strands of hair, like what, you know, is it energy? Is it like, you know, what is it supposed to embody? But before we get into that,
it just makes her look bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's just, and that's Erfan's touch. It's like, how can I make it look bomb? How can I make it look bomb? But as we look at this, let me. Oh, okay. All right. So I wanted everybody to look in the background here, because you know, at a glance, you don't
really. She was a mummy, and it's just the strands that unwrap themselves.
Right.
Well, they're glued to her head. So
yeah, they're glued to her head. So that was the character description that he gave Erfan. It's like, yeah, we want like the mummy wrap to be coming out of her hair, but on a joke. That was a joke. But I wanted to get this too, because, you know, I thought there was just a textured background behind it, but these are harvesters, right? These are the main villains that are.
Those are the villains. So the harvesters, volume 2 will go into details on them as well, and reveal some of the information about them. Even then, you don't know everything about the harvesters after volume 2, because I want people to. That's going to be like volume 9, 10, where maybe even further, volume 15 or 16. I haven't really figured that part out. I know what's going to happen. I just don't know how far I want it to go, because I really want people to get to know the kids and see their struggles, and keep the harvesters a little bit of a mystery until people start until the time comes appropriately to reveal what they're capable of doing, or where they come from, why they're doing what they're doing, and all that.
Very cool.
Because I want people to have questions, and it keeps it interesting.
Yeah, well, I have questions, but they're all good questions. You know, they're questions that'll be leading to issue, you know, volume 2 to 3, all the way up to, like, I think you said volume 8. So Charles has definitely planned this, you know, well into the future. So here, I want everybody to do a screen capture of this character. This is Vitus. Our first
you do have the double pages of the character designs, right?
Yes, I do. Are you talking about?
So they do have the little guardians on it. Yeah. So you got the little guardians.
Okay. All right. We'll go back and talk a little bit about this after we do our first live drawing. But let's do the screen capture here. If you want to draw along with us, just like in past Let It Outs, if you're going to draw along with us, drop into the comments field that you will be doing it, and then once it's ready to go, post it to our sister Facebook page, which is the Art Show, and Vic or I will pull up the artwork, and we will be honored, actually, to really show your artwork, to see fan art for, you know, the Essence character here, Vitus, to the creators, which are Charles and Erfan. So do a screen capture of her, and let us know if you want to draw along with it. So let me get my phone ready to go. Well, let's start with 15 minutes, which I'm sure is real easy for Victor and Erfan to do, but for me, that's going to take me a long time to like draw. So we'll see how it turns out. All right. So I'm going to minimize. I'm going to unshare this, and I'm going to bring up get Erfan. We're going to put up your art cam first, Erfan, and we'll probably just cycle between mine and Vic's a little later on. But we want to see you create magic, so it's going to be primarily on you to like show us what you're going to do with Vitus. All right, the clock is ticking right now, and let's start live drawing. And I'm going to throw this question up to you, Charles, while we're drawing here. Just fill us in and like without spoiling anything, you know, just letting us know a little bit more in terms of who she is that you haven't already said. You know, can you do that?
So what I mentioned before is Vitus is the main character. So when I did the hero sharing abilities, I had to focus on the ability sharing. So I needed a common goal, but I knew that Vitus needed to be the main character. So it's really, she is the most powerful being. She created everything. And I leave it kind of at that part so that people can learn more about her individually. But when I did her, I knew I wanted this very powerful being, and I wanted her to just be insane and way out there. But you can't have her as like the main focus, because one, she's too powerful, and you save the powerfulness for the good fight scenes. or when you really want her to be shown. So it's like a treat when you actually have her in the picture. It was more about sharing abilities. So you can't have her being a solo character and then sharing abilities. So you have to have the kids. And so the main focus is actually the kids going on a journey to find Vitus. And I remember a writer, he had mentioned to me, like, one of the things that they did, or I can't remember, it might have been a writer, it might have been an article or something I read, where on Star Wars, you know that Luke Skywalker is the main character for the first 3 movies. And but there are points where he gets set off to the side and you follow the journey of the other characters, and it's their journey to go find him. And that's kind of like an inspiration and part of what pushed me to actually have these kids go on a journey to find Vitus, because I knew that she was the main character. And then Conrad's kind of like the secondary main character, while the others are technically main characters as well. Conrad, I needed to follow something, so I followed Conrad. And he because it made sense, because he's actually the leader of the group. He's teaching all the kids how to use their powers, so he's like the Professor X of it. And so I approached it from that angle, so that it made more sense, because the original volume followed Charity, but people thought Charity was the main character, so there was a lot of confusion that could happen from all of that.
Did you
so,
have
oh, go ahead.
A lot of it is based on a lot of it was based on there's so many kids heroes. Are any of them based on anyone you know? Is there a reason why you wanted to go with with kids instead of adults like most books?
I wanted the Avatar: The Last Airbender feel. So that was the Avatar: The Last Airbender gave me the most inspiration in terms of the approach of the type of story it is. It has the humor, it has the cuteness, it has the aspect to it, and it is good for all ages. If you do a teenagers or adults, then it becomes more geared towards adults. Like adults can relate to young kids because they've been there, but kids cannot relate to adults as easily.
Yes.
Good point. And I think that was the conscious decision when I think we showed it during your last appearance and the last time you were on the show, and then even in Erfan's test art that he sent to you, is that I think the original characters were more going to be teenagers, and then you said, no, I want to drop their age down even further.
When I started them out at younger, so like volume 1 starts with Conrad at like 5 years old. I wanted to show the extremity of what Conrad's power could do, so that people are just like, holy crap, like he knows so much. And I did it on purpose, because I wanted that reaction from people of, he knows too much, he's too powerful, there's not really anything that he can do that can really come up against him that he won't have an answer for. But it ends the volume with him not being able to answer it.
Yeah, and it just goes to show is that he is not like the the flawless Superman kind of figure. He has limitations.
He's not even the strongest character out of all of them. All of them have their unique things that make them special in their own way. Malik is technically, in terms of like how much essence he has and how strong he is, he's stronger than Conrad. People just haven't seen a lot of the stuff that comes out yet, because there's so much material, there's so much stuff that I can use. I can't show it all at once. It's just impossible to show how much. It's going to take years and years to. I feel bad for the people that are become like obsessed with it to the point where they start trying to dissect it.
Well, I was going to say that I almost feel like, we've had these conversations after your last appearance about just keeping it straight in your head in terms of like the 12 warriors. There's 12 warriors. They all have unique powers, and depending on who connects or combines with who, it can either amplify one person's powers or maybe diminish one other person's powers, or it's like you have to keep that all straight in your head.
There's going to be a lot of things and a lot of potential. So like I've got 12 characters, but like you guys heard before, I think it's at like 30 characters altogether right now, or somewhere in that ballpark. I'm not even I don't want to even try to keep track anymore at this point because it just hurts my brain. But it's basically like 30 to the power of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how many different potential options you have. It's probably less than that. It might be, but it's still ridiculous. So when you see an ability used the same exact way, it's going to be like so far down the road, you're going to be like, it's going to feel like it's still new.
Yeah. And that's how you keep it fresh, right? It's like,
yeah,
hey,
there's always going to be a fresh thing on it. Another thing that's really unique about this that you don't see in a lot of series is like stories like Lord of the Rings or like a lot of the other ones. They're geared more towards like the movie aspect. But this one, you can literally like, they have to put thought process into how they build the characters for like a video game or a board game or a card game. Whereas all of this can translate from one medium to another medium with minor tweaks. It's not going to be as hard to tweak it and adjust it as needed.
Yeah, speaking of which, are you thinking about doing like a Essence like role-playing game? Because I could kind of see like all these characters.
I can do a Dungeons and Dragons theme. It wouldn't actually be very hard to create something like that. Once more of the story comes out, I do. That's why I hope I can get into Netflix or I can get into Nickelodeon or Disney, or if one of them sees this or whatever, they approach me on it.
Yeah, I think that the potential would be crazy in terms of like being able to do.
Yeah, right now I'm limited to basically 3-4 hours a day at most where I can work on this, or if I work on it on a day off. So basically, if I had more time, I'd be able to do a lot more. If I could focus on writing and the games, that's where my talent's being wasted right now. Right now, I'm just working to pay for the whole project. But once I can get into a business or a company or get picked up or have an investor that can put in the funding, then I can actually start flipping it and focus on the writing and the video games, board games, all of that, because it's I don't have enough time to do it all. So it's a lot of it's just building up the support to help kind of get it all out there.
Yeah, and the same thing too. You know, you're like you said earlier, you surround yourself with such talented people. You want to do the same thing if you go that animated route, and you know, have just the best people around you to make the best product, because you have a great property, and you don't want to make like a cheap cartoon that looks horrible, or they change.
I don't want it to look like the 90s style. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey man, there were some great 90s.
I'm
90s,
kidding.
90s cartoons. I couldn't tell if you were trying to be sarcastic or not, but I was like thinking, yeah, we
well, I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think of some really bad shows. I can't think of any shows because I'm pretty easily entertained. But there's got to be some really, really, really terrible artistic shows out there that are just absolutely horrific, and people like you don't know how they made it on, or poorly told. There's plenty one thing I definitely don't want to have happen. Are you familiar with the Kami ga Kill?
No. What is that? Is that something that...
The Kami ga Kill is an anime, and it was a phenomenal anime. Even though they had the first season, it was really, really well done. But the problem is they didn't follow the comic book. So they killed off a lot of important characters, and they even killed off the main character at the end.
Oh, wow.
So it couldn't progress because they killed off too many important characters.
Oh, well, that's a lesson in what not to do when you're creating a franchise. Kill off the main character, and what does that
I can't remember. They set him up to be like the main character, and they ended up killing him.
Oh.
So it was kind of crazy. I don't know if Erfan's familiar with it or not.
I never watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, my Photoshop is crazy. What happened?
All right, just to give you guys a heads up,
I was getting away from you.
Yeah, we're at the 4-minute mark. So
Erfan's already done.
Oh, he is? He's done? Oh man, I'm just like trying to thicken up
It's okay. It's okay. My pencil died on me, so I'm just charging it right now.
Oh, really? Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. I charged my iPad, but I forgot to charge the pencil.
Oh, okay.
So I got like a quick nothing in.
I don't know how.
So what's your
dream? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. What's your dream property? Like, where would you love to see it the most? I know, you want to see shows, movies, all of that, but what's the one thing you want the most out of all of them? The games, the movies, TV show?
I want the animated series. That's where that and the video game. The whole purpose of creating Essence originally was to make a video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's where all of this came from.
To do a video game, that was the first.
It's the video game that I took too far.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
I know you said that you didn't collect comics either. You didn't read them or anything. Have you started?
No, I came into this like completely just started from scratch. So I've only been doing this for about 3 years for the comic book writing. So that's where John and Ramel Hill have helped me a lot, is they're pointing out a lot of the things. And I've tried reading comics, but it's the thing with me is people will assume that I'm just they might assume I'm being lazy, or they just don't think that I want to do the research. I would struggle and I would discourage myself if I tried to force myself to do it, because I'm not good at, like, I could read a comic book and I wouldn't pick up the information. People need to point it out to me directly is the thing. I would have a very, very hard time, and it would be very discouraging for me, because I'd feel like I was wasting my time if I did read them. There would be little things that I'd pick up on. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I can use something like that. Or, oh, I can focus a little bit on this part of writing, but there's a lot of things like commas, me and grammar. I'm no good with commas.
So the main enemy for Charles is the comma. I think you need to come up with a new villain.
Some of the grammar aspects and a little bit of emotional. So like Erfan's brought up a few things where, like, in the book, he's like, this doesn't have like very good emotional connection. And when you're the writer and you're the one doing it, you understand everything, but from the outside perspective, you know nothing about these characters, so you might not pick up on it as easily. Right. So that's another thing that's good about Erfan, with his experience and working with these professionals and working for a big company. He's already experienced some of that, so he's able to pick up on it and understand it. And I've tried, but a lot of the things that you learn is trial and error. It doesn't matter how many books you've read; it comes down to trial and error.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that also gives you kind of a unique experience. You may not have been a diehard comic fan all your life, but it also gives you a unique perspective, because you're not going to be biased by any of those trends or like plot lines or stories that have been done in comic books, since I don't know, since you would have been potentially exposed to them. So I think that gives you a unique strength too. You can come up with your own take on it. Plus, you said it was going to be a video game, so your original intent was to make it a video game, so you can draw from that arena in terms of
there's so many. The thing is this has so many. It's the potentials and the capabilities of this entire series are just limitless. And you're probably learning new things that you're just like, how can he talk about this for 3 hours on one show and then continue to talk about it for 3 hours and still have new content? And then I'll have him 6 months from now, and then he'll have more content that I didn't know anything about.
Well, that just goes to show that it's a great story, right? You have lots of content to talk about. So
I've put a lot of thought process into it. John Carter, he said, pose this question: what is the worth of massive power when it forces isolation?
Ooh, getting some deep philosophical things in here too. So
John's he's very in tune with a lot of things. So he's very good at pinpointing, and he's a very smart man. I still don't understand what it means.
Well, on that note, we'll end it with that thought-provoking comment on that. The time is now expired. So the only way we can get more time is if our guest Erfan wants to have more time. But you know what? I'm looking at your. I'm cheating now. I'm looking at what you have here on the screen. Oh my gosh, that's all I'm going to say. I guess do you want more time to like tweak this out more, or do you think you're at a part where we can just sort of like move to the next challenge and
I say give him more time.
Give him more time. Okay. What would you like, Erfan? You want more time?
I don't know. I think just a couple of minutes. I think.
Okay, a couple minutes. Okay, we'll add 2 more minutes to it, and
Right.
and that'll give. I don't know where Vic. Vic, is your pencil still Apple Pencil still charging?
I'm still letting it charge. I'll be way behind.
Okay, no problem.
If anybody's drawing along with this, they'll post in the art show. We'll be looking at that in a minute, so that way we could share with everyone.
Yeah, just let Vic know, and Vic will be happy to share that. So I guess my last question is, since we're for 2 minutes, and this is to both of you guys. What was the art direction for Vitus in terms of her look? Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly minimal look, I must say. Do you guys want to like talk about that in terms of like
where it was created from,
or just the way her look? You know, like what you wanted her to, her look in the sense.
So when I originally had her, I had flames on her head, but it when I worked with Chris, he added the tweak, so I knew that I needed like Vitus. It was pretty much going to be like kind of like a little bit of a basic, like, because I mean she's kind of like the Silver Surfer type thing, and but she's pure energy, but she's the accumulation of all colors, which creates white. So I knew that she needed to be a soul that was white, that was glowing, and then Chris Jevenois, I want to say it's like French or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it's Jevenois. But he's the one that added the I'm trying to think of the wording. What are they called? Dreadlocks, right? He added the dreads. So, and it was a very, that's one thing about Chris that's really good, is he's very, very professional about how he puts his characters together. And he was very good at designing and putting all those things together. And so that's where all of that came from. He tweaked it up a little bit, but I knew that I wanted her to have the white glowing appeal, because she's the accumulation of all colors, and the harvesters absorb essence. They are the absorption, which is why they are black.
Gotcha. All right. So we just finished go ahead.
Sarah says, wow, just wow.
I know.
We agree. We
do. All right, so the 2 minutes have expired. So let's go ahead and.
Okay.
All right, I'm in awe here. Yeah.
So I asked John. I asked him, and he says it's a tease for Vitus. She is the front of all power, but that power is a magnet for suffering. The overarching tension, in essence, is that coming together makes you more powerful, but accumulation of power leads to pain and suffering.
Man, I can imagine Yoda saying that to the Jedi Council here.
He's John is very, very good at pinpointing all that stuff, and that's I'm glad to have a friend like him that I've had for how long is it, John? 17 years now. I've known you since 16, 17 when we played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, history. That's the history. Hey, Erfan, can we zoom in?
Yeah.
Can we? I wanted to show this artwork, because if you guys didn't believe how awesome Erfan is with his art, you got to see this live. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video so I can see this myself happen. I only get to see the finished product here. But yeah, my hardest part was dealing with the hair, or the dreads, or the energy dreads. I don't know exactly the mummy wrappings that are coming out of her hair. I don't know exactly how you describe it, but that was something that was really difficult for me. And seeing what Erfan did here, that looks incredible.
So the hair is actually again the layer styles, Photoshop layer styles.
I don't remember any layer style that said make awesome Erfan artwork hair. But that's so cool.
Do you?
Yeah. So this is a lifestyle. So the layer make a stroke out of my white.
I can kind of see what you're talking about now.
That's an awesome technique.
I would never have. Oh, you're just letting
Right.
all sorts of secrets out here.
Yeah,
This is
So that's
okay.
one thing about Erfan that's really, really another amazing aspect to him and his personality. Whenever they come out with something new, he's always like, I always watch him making a live video of going through the different new features that is introduced into the program, and he's going through details and he's testing it out. Didn't you recently just buy an iPad or
just
something?
Just using it.
Yeah, and I saw videos of him just sitting there playing with all the different features on it, and he was like testing the heat signature and
I was gonna tell you, it's like Erfan embraces the new technologies, and it's not like he's relying on.
Erfan's gonna block me now because he thinks I'm stalking him.
He's like, I saw that video that you didn't share to anybody. I saw it. Yeah, that's cool because it's nothing. Some people say, well, if you're using digital tools, you're like cheating. You're not cheating. I mean, you still need to be able to use the tool effectively to express yourself artistically, and that is what Erfan's doing. And I'm seeing I use Photoshop every day for my day job, which is just graphic design. But I never would have thought about how you would apply some of these just layer effects to illustration, and it's amazing to see what you're doing. So yes, kudos. I just totally love that. Let me I guess
Gerald, I'm gonna send you a message. So Juan Hood.
Yes.
He sent me a picture that he drew with you guys, so I'm gonna send it to you.
Yes, send it to me. And while I'm waiting for that, Vic, did anybody in the art show draw along?
Yeah.
Do you know? Okay, do you want to share it?
Sarah drew along with us. Here we go.
Okay. And Sarah, look at that.
Sarah always coming through.
Yeah, Sarah hails from Egypt, and she is. I've just seen. It's been such a pleasure seeing her art style evolve in the time that we've known her. I think it's been over a year now, I guess. Yeah, it's just incredible art.
Read her quote at the same time. Digital art is a different form of art. Totally agree.
Sarah, killing it. The good thing about digital art, so the from digital art to traditional art, digital art allows you to actually make more mistakes, and it allows you.
I was like, that's where I've been going wrong. I need to go to digital art because I can make more mistakes.
But it also allows you to draw a little bit faster, because it has all the textures, all the brushes, all the things, which is Erfan just cheated. That's all.
No, he did not cheat. Because if he cheated, I need to get that cheat book. I need to get that cheat code.
I'm sure he has on his palette. He's got a bloody sperm.
they can easily pull up any moment now. All right. So Vic, was Sarah?
Yeah, that was the only one.
Okay. All right. I'm going to add mine to the stream real quick, and so here's, I guess, my quick rendition.
All right.
I couldn't do all the hair. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do I need to figure out that layer style for traditional art. See if I can get that hair to come out. But anyway, I wanted to make it look like she's getting ready to I don't know what. There's energy between her fingers. She has the force lightning between her her fingertips. And I also thought of her hair. Is the hair kind of like a weapon too? Could that be a weapon as well, or is that a spoiler?
It just makes her look really cool.
Oh, it's the cool factor. Okay. Well, I got to work on adding more of the cool factor. So
people could do the prehensile?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be the way to do it.
I didn't really see the need to do that. Technically, I guess realistically you could do that, but I mean she can use the essence of any being, so she can really do just about anything she wants to. I mean, Conrad's ability allows him to pretty much turn his body into whatever he wants and mold it, and he could technically even make himself be a doppelganger, look like somebody else if he wanted to.
Conrad could do that. Oh wow! So
well, he can manipulate his atoms to be whatever he wants. So realistically, you just haven't gotten to see all that.
Coming soon. That's going to be a hint of maybe a future power.
There's a lot to the series. In Volume 1, when he was fighting Max and Max punched him, he punched into his body and he turned into putty.
Okay, because he has that much control over his atoms that he could absorb.
He can atomize himself and turn into any. He could break his body into atoms, change it to any molecular property that he wants to be, or atomic, or molecular, or
yeah, he can go down to the molecular level, change his
atomic level, but he can change any element that he wants to be.
Oh,
so and he's even ones that we don't know exist because he's able to understand them. So it allows you to actually do like something like adamantium. Obviously I wouldn't do that, but
copyright Marvel
I get to create my own things.
Yeah, it'll be unobtainium. That's what we're gonna call it, unobtainium. Yeah, but anyway, that was just a little.
He's Diamond 2.
Yeah, Diamond 2. But anyway, that was a great art challenge, and now we're going to move into the co-host challenge, which was introduced by Vic a couple shows back at the beginning of this year, and it's become really fun. It's a nice, cool exercise that I think a lot of artists could probably work into their daily routine and challenge themselves to come up with some really neat compositions based on lines. And so, Vic, I'm going to hand it over to you. Hopefully your Apple Pencil is charged up a little bit more because we'd love to make sure that we can share some of your
I've had it on this whole time, so I should be good to go now.
Okay, good. So do you want to bring up some samples?
Let me share the screen here. All right, so here's the line that Charles drew us. And so the challenge is come up with something, whatever you see out of this line, create something, does whatever you can think of. Oh, I believe we had a theme. Charles, you had a theme, right? It was
so the theme that we chose was time. Because when you look at Essence and you look at Krunk Self Adventures, because we didn't get to talk a lot about Krunk Self Adventures, Krunk Self Adventures, he gets cursed. The curse allows him to travel back in time, but because he's immortal, he gets to live through history and learn all the information and learn what's real and what's not real. And like learn about how easy it is to have misinformation. And basically I'm just making fun of history and saying that you can turn any story and manipulate it and make it believable, and that becomes a narrative over time, and the real actual thing that actually happened never was known.
Yeah,
because you never knew, because you didn't live during that time. So he's basically going back in time and learning all that stuff, and so he's immortal. So it's all about time. He has all the time in the world, whereas in Essence they don't have that much time. They have to fight these creatures that are trying to destroy everything, so they are literally in a race against time. And it's something that everybody can relate to as well, because how we live, everything's based on time.
Okay,
so
I want you to save that, because I deliberately didn't talk about Krunk because I wanted to round that out when we do our third live drawing challenge to talk more about Krunk. But it's good because this is the middle challenge that's going to bridge to talking about Krunk. And actually, spoiler alert, we're going to be doing something Krunk related for the third drawing challenge. Okay, so Vic, I don't know if it's easy for you, but can you show some examples of? Can we draw a worm over that? Yeah, it's a time worm.
Actually, I called it a tapeworm, and I was going to choose the theme of indigestion, but
well, we decided let's try and figure out how we can work that into like how we can tie.
We went a different route.
Yeah, we went a different route. So, Vic, do you want to show examples? I don't know if it's easy for you. I want to.
Yeah, let me bring that up real quick.
Yeah, I want people, if they haven't watched our previous two shows where we introduced this challenge, it was really fun. We had some really complex and simple lines to come with. This is an example that Vic came up with. Like if this was the line, and some of the really quick things you could do. Hey, Pac-Man, we can do Pac-Man. We could do dun 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 dun. This is the Jaws thing. Maybe that's a shark. And my favorite, you could make it Cyclops. Like this is the optic blast. So these are just some fun examples of how you can do it. My brain is like going to be taxed to try to figure out how I can make this line work in terms of like time and Essence and Krunk. But yeah, do a screen capture of this. If you want to do this digitally, if you do a screen capture.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay, yeah.
I drank too much water.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Do what you got to do. But yeah, so here, if you're doing this digitally, if you can do a screen capture of it and then just superimpose your drawing on top of it. If you're doing it traditionally, like I am, I just sort of like drew it really quickly, and then I'm just gonna try. And
you could also put your paper to the screen and trace over it, whichever works for you.
Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. All right, so let me get the clock ready.
And the theme is time.
Time.
So let's bring up
time.
Erfan already has it.
All right. Okay. So we got 15 minutes. I'm gonna start the clock, and here we go. All right.
I am totally not prepared.
I am too. I'm trying to think about this. And meanwhile, Erfan's probably like,
I don't know. Time. Okay.
I'm gonna get Erfan's screen up here. So, it's already there. Okay.
Yeah, it's up there.
Okay. What am I gonna do? Okay. Huh. All right. Since
Erfan, I know you, Erfan, you said in the past that you have your own, your own IPs that you want to do, and obviously Essence keeps you really busy. But are you thinking about doing that in the future, of coming out with your own book?
Probably
your own tutorials, hint.
But I haven't decided which story I want to do. There is some ideas already in my head, but I need to think about the time management, like you said. But usually my IP just some slice of life stories back then, not the one that will take too much time to create. So now if I want to make a new IP, I guess I need to prepare more.
All right, I'm back.
So, Charles, when you came up with this line, aside from thinking it might be a tapeworm or something like that, was there any other?
I didn't come up with that idea until afterwards.
First off, he came up with a complex one that was like
it was an atom
or something. I was like, I don't know what I would do with that.
Well, you could have drawn it on a superhero outfit. You could have had it be like a Rasengan. Oh no, are you gonna do oh, never mind. I thought he was gonna do the Shy Guy.
This is the Shy Guy version.
So when I did that, I was trying to look for something a little different rather than just a straight line or do like a bunch of straight lines, and I wanted to come up with something a little different. So I had to go through the different fonts, and obviously I'm not an artist, so I can't really come up with that much. What did I tell you, Gerald? I said I draw my limit of creativity at a straight line. Anything after that is kind of just...
Hey, let's just say that you save your creativity for words, for scripts and stuff like that.
I do. Well, except for when it comes to commas.
Oh, commas, because that's your arch nemesis, right?
One of the big ones.
Yeah. The really big commas, the commas with the dramatic pauses, they totally get you. All right. So, okay. So you'd mentioned a little bit about time. Like time being the theme here. I just realized I don't know how I can work. But anyway, let's talk about time. We'll save it for Krunk because we're going to go back into that a little bit later. Time in relation to Essence. What would you like to talk a little bit more about that in terms of how time?
So basically, like how Essence is the kids are having to. It's basically they have to find Vitus before the monsters find her or before the monsters destroy everything. So it's a race against time, and they have to find a way to get around it. And so if they fail, obviously, what the result is. So, but they also have to go up against each other, or they have to handle each other. Because, you think about it, when you're younger, you're not always socially adjusted. So kids will still argue with each other. You have all the different personalities. So when you get 12 kids together that are completely different, you're going to get a lot of different variables. So it's not just like, and that has to do with like the age, and that has to do with how long they've lived and all of that stuff. So another thing with time. and it takes time to actually get to know each other and learn how to handle one another.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to I'm still wrapping my head around how I'm going to introduce time into this. So I might have to just I might just cop out and just do another Essence character out of this. Yeah, I think that it's neat. I guess we can kind of give a little bit of a preview about Krunk because you talked, because we're going to talk about that obviously in more in depth coming after this particular challenge. I guess let's talk about Krunk. You said he was immortal, so obviously from a time perspective, he doesn't really think, well, I'm immortal. I don't really have to worry about any of the limitations of age or having to finish something by a certain amount of time. So was that a big story challenge for you, or did that allow you to oh, you know what? I can.
No, I created Krunk in a week and a half. It wasn't.
It was easy.
When you've worked on something like Essence, doing something like Krunk is a lot easier.
I can imagine. And that's another thing. Let's talk about that in terms of the juxtaposition of Essence versus Krunk. These are two titles under the Essence banner. That's your Essence is not only your flagship title, but that's the name of your studio, right? Essence.
Yeah, Essence Comics.
Oh, Essence Comics.
So yeah. It's the I wanted to do something that, because Essence is obviously the main focus of what I've started, and I know that that's something that no matter what happens with the other series, that's one that I can have. That's going to probably take 15-20 years, so I'll probably retire from it. I'll probably have to hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah, because Essence is going to be a household name. It's going to be so
it's think about how long Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, I mean, they've been around for a very long time. And the good thing about Essence is it has a lot of room for growth, that once you get done telling the main story, you can still branch it off and have it go into a lot of different directions. And that's where a lot of those other new characters can come into play as well. So you get to see those new besides the 12, you get to see the newer characters, but then you can play off on them in branching off way later down the road after the conclusion of season 20.
Yeah, season 20. That's the way I like the way you think. It's because it's going to be that large. It's going to be like season 20.
Erfan's probably thinking about it right now.
He's like, season 20. He's like,
I plan on retiring after the show. No.
It's like, look for a new artist.
No, but I think I'm hoping Erfan has been really enjoying the process behind all of this, and it feels very unique for him, because it's been a fun journey, and I've really enjoyed working with him. It's been fun. Him and Fariza and everybody else, John, Ramel, everybody that's been involved in the project, and even the support that I've built at work. From my coworkers and stuff, they're very supportive of all of it, and they're excited to see how this will proceed and go to the next phase.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Like we mentioned earlier, how you're thinking about the animated movie, a video game. I mean, you're thinking definitely not one-dimensionally, or you're not thinking of just the comic. You're thinking about other opportunities where
I'm trying to think well ahead. That's why I put the story together. So a lot of stories, they will start out and they'll have an idea of what they want to do, and then they'll do an animated series, and they'll get the first season out or something like that. But then the sequel really is terrible when they do season 2 or 3 or 4. It starts falling apart pretty quick. That's why a lot of shows don't end up. I mean, what was it? Was it World War Z, where it just stopped turning into what it was meant to be in the beginning?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that had all sorts of scripting
not
and
World War Z.
You're talking about Walking Dead, or
yes,
yeah,
Walking
Dead had all sorts of problems. It deviated from the comic book, and then certain characters got killed off, just like you had mentioned about that particular manga. And it's where does the story go? I mean, it became so different from the comic, that and that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, I don't know, but
yeah, sometimes you can improve. So like even when I do the good thing about doing the comic before doing the animated series is you can pinpoint mistakes, or you can adjust things before it goes to the screen, so that you can see what people have to say about it. Obviously, you can't listen to every single thing that every person says, but you take some of that criticism and say, oh yeah, I could have done that better, or I could have done this, or I could have done that. And then you adjust it. But it's better to do the comic book, because then people that read and observe it will leave comments. If they like it, they'll try to provide critiques and input, and constructive input, not just like, oh, well, this sucked.
Yeah. No one likes those kind of comments. Like, give me
trolls.
Yeah. if you're gonna give me a hard time about it, tell me why, and stuff like that. I mean, I think we all kind of had to develop some thick skin when it comes to like sharing our ideas, our creations. Online,
yeah, you have to go into it knowing that you're not going to make everybody happy. Not everybody's going to agree with what you do. You just have to take it with a grain of salt, brush it off your shoulder, and move on. Because I mean, if everybody could do it, then everybody would be doing it. So it's just whether or not they like it enough to be like, well, I don't like that part, but I'll ignore it.
And speaking of that, has anybody been that brutal to you? Like, just you show them your book and then they like, oh, this sucks, or wait, I don't know what you were thinking, Charles.
It's not like having Jar Jar Binks, so people still watch Star Wars.
You know what, Jar Jar Binks, I think, has probably aged a little bit better. I think there's a lot of sympathy now for Jar Jar Binks. I think Ahmad Best, the actor who played him, I think now I think for a while he didn't even want to show his face like at cons or anything like that.
Yeah, he was getting death threats and everything.
Yeah, and I think now,
Wow.
I think he's actually gotten past that now. I think he's actually celebrated more than despised, and it wasn't what was the Jessica Rabbit line? It's like, I'm not bad, I was just drawn that way. It's like, I'm not a bad character, Jar Jar Binks, I was just directed and written that way. So
yeah.
It was unfair. It was unfair. Yeah.
Poor Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, poor Jar Jar Binks.
he didn't deserve that, but people still made fun of him. So something John just said. He said, like all great sci-fi, Krunk is a vehicle for you to look at and explore the human condition. Freeing Krunk from the boundaries of the now lets you see how human experience resonates and rhymes across time. From that perspective, Krunk can poke fun at how we keep making the same mistakes, while also see that our great fears today have been solved in the past.
Wow. I'm gonna have to he's gonna have to write a book on philosophy. I think that several profound comments there from John.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's very good at pointing things out. Like, he even pointed out that I should have a poster behind me for Essence. So I will make sure next time I'm doing a show, I have a poster behind me.
Yeah, I know. You're usually the master of promotion, making sure that you have banners and prints and ready to go at any moment's notice. Yeah. So, and that's another thing I want to talk about in terms of Essence. I mean, if you haven't seen pictures of Charles's layout when he puts together his booth or his exhibit, when he's exhibiting at these shows, it's impressive. You've got like merchandise galore. It's like, you want to talk a little bit, about like all the different, a lot of things that are at your booth when people come to see you.
Right now, the most I offer is the metal prints, the books, and then some prints. Eventually, I'll start expanding and I'll start getting like pins, buttons. I did have stickers at the previous show, but I'm going to start getting more stickers as well. And then I'll start adding like keychains as well, just small items that will get people hooked and learn about it. But right now, the main focus should be like getting people interested in the story, and then they'll start spending money to actually go buy the prints and the different things because they like what the story has. Because getting people interested, like the reason why they would buy the artwork is just because they think it's cool. They know nothing about the characters. It's just, to them, it's just cool, and they like the appeal of it. But the goal is to get people intrigued in the story as well.
Yeah. Well, they will be intrigued if they haven't seen all the phenomenal artwork and this. You talking about the story? It's if they aren't hooked, I think they're brain dead. You know, they have to like. It's just so cool. There's so much cool things. Oh, look at that! The time has just expired. Like I said before, if Erfan needs more time, but he's probably like dropping. He's probably dropping in colors right now. Erfan, do you?
I think I'm okay.
Phil?
You're good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Okay. Pencils down. Pencils down.
Here we go. Erfan, some cool steampunk stuff going on here.
Oh wait, let me turn off the alarm here. Oh my gosh, look at this! Tell us about your idea here. I see the line. Let's let the artist tell us about what he did.
I'm doing a watchman, literally a man with a watch in his face.
Oh, very cool.
That is so
neat.
The
line's his head right there. That's cool.
And I see the line. Very creative use of the line. So this is going to be possibly a new IP. You got to see it here first. I just want to make sure that props are given to Comics Cast. That when Erfan
catchphrase is going to be turning back time,
turning back time, yeah. Or like sands through the hourglass. You know, this is Erfan's Watchman, literally the Watchman. Very very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this so I can see what Erfan did. Are you comfortable with sharing what you got, Vic, so we can kind of see what you did? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, Vic.
Right.
Tell us about your illustration.
Well, if you want to that is a bloody sperm with a flux capacitor on his chest.
It's on fire.
He's going 88 miles an hour, so
yeah. He's
is
going,
that the Y chromosome?
It could be. It has a double meaning. It's the flux capacitor and the Y chromosome. So, I have to say, Vic, you're keeping it alive. You're keeping alive the inside joke from the last season. I mean, the last show. It's alive and well here in this episode. So, alrighty. So, Vic, if you don't mind, look and see if anybody in the art show posted it in the comments field. And while we're doing it. I always feel like mine is just kind of like blasé. So here's mine. I decided to do Vi, or is it V? V. So like, if you look here, this is my stroke, I guess, or the stroke.
Right.
And so I couldn't figure out how I could figure out time, how this incorporated. And I kind of wanted to make it look like she's sad. And Charles, I know why she's sad, but you know, I don't want to like spoil anything. So, but it was fun. I couldn't figure. I could see the line. I said, hey, that'd be kind of neat. I've never done a character looking down and actually from a back view. So this was actually kind of a nice challenge for me. But Vi has become. She's one of my favorite characters from Volume 1, and I was like trying to get Charles to tell me a little bit about her story. I don't want to go any further than that. I'm just going to say that I really like Vi. I thought she was really neat, and I decided to draw her. So you got to read the book. You got to get the book.
She in Volume 3, her and her brother are gonna. It's gonna be a fun fight scene.
Okay, so that's it. You heard it from the creator. That's who Vi is, and I'm gonna bring this down. So did anybody draw along with us?
Yeah, we have.
Here we go.
Sarah again.
Okay, Sarah.
Like the Queen will be mad. I think she incorporated Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
The rabbit into hers.
I'm gonna send Juan. Juan did another one for you.
Yeah. Actually, let me look at. I need to pull up the artwork too. Sarah, thanks. That looks so good. Let me pull this down. All right. So
if anybody was drawing along and they weren't finished, just post it.
Yes.
And
I sent that to you, Gerald.
Later.
Okay. Yep. I'm gonna pull that up right now. I'm sorry I didn't get to show his version of Era too. So Vitus. Yes. So let me go ahead and put those into a PDF real quick, and we'll show that. All right, so hold on one moment. I'm not as efficient as Vic is in terms of showing stuff, so let me stop screen, share screen, and go back to the PDF. All right, here we go. Okay, and you said this artwork is from who again?
Juan Hood.
Juan Hood.
He is a
Very
artist
nice.
that I met at one of the shows,
Uh-huh.
Artsy Fartsy.
Uh-huh.
They did a little small event through the Kent Downtown Partnership, and it was about, what was it, 3-4 years ago, I believe it was. I met him, and I've just kept in contact with him since then. And I've gotten to know a fair amount of the local art community and stuff, and I like to do a bunch of different little shows where I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, Juan, I see you with a line that's in here, and you did a really good solution. I think you're gonna have to like pair this up with Erfan's Watch Man and Watch Woman. But I like how it has a obviously it has the serpentine feel to it, but I like how you incorporate it into like making it a hood, and just really really nice stuff. And he also included from the last challenge. This is his version of Vitus, and just look at this. I mean, really good artwork. So
and he actually was like he did it a nice job doing it quick and traditional too, with the way her hair is laid out and stuff like that. So he actually was able to kind of incorporate some of the dreadlocks into there as well.
Mm-hmm. Much better.
I know that's a huge challenge for artists.
It is. He knocked it out of the park compared to what I did. I just sort of like put errant lines. He actually made it look like it was dreads and actually like a composition, whereas mine is just random lines going in every direction. So that being said, let's go ahead and do we have anybody else in the art show?
No, that was it so far.
Okay, all right.
If anybody else pops up, I'll share it at the end.
Yeah, and like Vic said, if anybody wants to contribute and show, do any of the challenges and is still working on it, just let us know and we'll show it much later on after we do the third one. So let's stop sharing this. And this is a little bit different from what we did in the past. Usually we go straight into the third live drawing, but I didn't want to break the flow of talking about Essence. So we're going to take a little bit of a time to like talk about another IP that is under Charles's Essence Comics studio banner, and that is Krunk. We talked a little bit about it already, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it because it's going to directly tie into the third drawing challenge, which is we're going to be drawing a character from Krunk. So let me share one more time. Let's see. The PDF that I have, and let me go to this, and I'm going to turn it over a little bit back over to Charles so he can go a little bit more in depth about who and what Krunk is. So these are pictures from the actual issue, and like issue 1. And like Charles said, you said this was available, that people can download this for free?
You can read the first issue online for free. So on my website, I call it Read for Free. It's just like read and then for and then free. That way it's really easy. So you can put it up in the bar above and people can just click on it and easily get to it. But Krunk's Elf Adventures, when I created it, it was more of like when I just had a dream, and it was basically this is what kind of resulted from it. So it's completely random. Which is typical when it comes to me. Most of my stuff is random. Just ask Erfan. He's dealt with me for what, almost a year and a half now.
Okay, but before you go any further, I just want to let everybody know this is a result of Charles' dream, and we got to see earlier what Erfan's dreams are like. So isn't that kind of nice comparison? We get the horned lady that with a striking gaze, and then we have murder hornets. And 2020 coming soon. Drink energy.
So this all happened like at the beginning of 2020, and they had the news articles that Washington got murder hornets, and then they had like, I knew that like, okay, we had 2012, so why not have 2020, because it's gonna happen. It's just it's gonna happen. Right. And Don't Look Up came out, so I mean it's gonna happen. and it's probably going to be a comedy of some sort too. So basically, the elf, it kind of starts off with a normal kind of scene where it's just Krunk, and it introduces a little bit about his character, and he's just going through, and you guess that he's late to where he's supposed to be, and his mom starts getting mad at him, so she expects him to show back home, and he runs into Regalia.
Mm-hmm.
And so Regalia is a crazy cursed witch lady. My sister told me gypsy is kind of a bad term, so I don't use gypsy. I use witch.
Okay.
So she's a cursed witch, and she can tell that he's an elf. I don't go into like all the details. Like people don't see him as an elf. You think of it as a magical being, so you just assume that the magic is hiding him from people being able to know that he's an elf.
Yeah.
But nobody else believes her, obviously, and they tell her to kind of shut up, and then he just kind of like, okay, well, she's crazy. Don't know how she can tell, but I'm just going to go off onto my normal day.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you go through the story, it's just basically, it's not like a bunch of actiony stuff. It's a bunch of just cute comical stuff. You can see like the little guardians in the bottom left-hand page. You can see that I added essence into there, and I used it as like, it's called Guardian Brawls.
And because you're the creator, you can do that. I can put all sorts of Easter eggs in my other comic books if I want to, right? So.
Yep. So I put little things into the one comic, into this one, and even in Essence, I could probably do it too, where I have like Krunk in the background somewhere, where he becomes like a character. In Essence, but for now I leave it in his little thing, and so you get to kind of see how some of the story unfolds, and you see like how Regalia starts becoming a recurring thing, and every time you see her, something's happening to her.
Right. And that's what
she brings the humor into it. And I use a lot of themes that would connect adults and then connect kids. So you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the phone. And it's like, when you think about how rich people work and how they construct their buildings, they always run out of budget, and they're like, well, we don't need that. So like he's like, why do you have that kind of phone? He's the if you like zoom in on it, like you can see that he says it's the result of a low budget. So they ran out of the funding, so they ended up putting in an old phone.
Yeah, and I think that as we're comparing this to, oh man, my computer just seems to be crawling right now. But it's when you compare this.
Sorry, I need to time out a bit.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. If we compare this to Essence, what I like about this is it's so neat because, yeah, there it is. Hopefully it'll. Oh yeah. Oh, and it keeps on scrolling. Stop. But yes, what I like about this is the humor aspect, and even just the art style. It is impressive in its own right. I like that you have a great eye for talent. You've assembled. Vic mentioned about how you surround yourself with really talented people.
I balance. So the thing with like Essence and Krunk, they're two completely separate style comics. So they show my ability. So like Erfan has his versatility with his art styles. I have. I haven't even gotten to show some of the other books, and a lot of the other books are not even going to be close to Essence. Like, you could read this and you'd be like, wait, Charles wrote this? Like, this is the same writer?
Right. And I think that's... go ahead. Well, I was going to say that it's so neat because you're versatile too, versatile in your style of writing. The subject matters. And it's, when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, was this written by Charles too? The humor is much more on display, and even the compositions of the pages, very effective storyteller. Who's the artist that worked on this?
Kyle. It's CAIO, but he told me it's like Kyle.
Okay.
So it's Kyle.
Okay. But
that's what I assume. I'll just go with it.
I'll just go with that. I just want to give him credit here because working with him, I did
try to get him on. I tried to ask him how well his English speaking is, and he was very quick to say, I can't speak English.
Oh, well, considering that if he can't speak English, he really read your script and just interpreted it really well. I mean, I think
he did a really phenomenal job. And the thing is this was all traditionally drawn.
Oh, that's that's impressive too. And I look at this too. It has a nice flow to it, and like I mentioned earlier in the show, humor is very hard to pull off. And
well, it's hard to pull off, but it's hard to pull it off page after page after page after page, just consecutively.
Right, and you're so right. And we're not going to go into reading this book online, during the show. I encourage people to check it out. You can read it for free, and that will get you hooked on Krunk. That sounds really funny. Get you hooked on Krunk. It sounds like it's a drug or something like that. But it'll get you hooked on Krunk, and then it'll make you want to buy issue 2. Now I know issue 2 is pretty much done. It's in its final lettering pages, right? And that's going to be. Is that going to be its own Kickstarter, or is that going to be?
So what I'm trying to do is, like, people that buy volume 1, it was more recent that I started doing it, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get both series out there. And so when people buy volume 1, because Krunk Self-Adventures is pretty cheap to print, I'm including the first issue along with it, because if I ship it out, so like people that buy in the US, it costs it just the normal cost to shipping and handling, so it doesn't really cost extra to ship and handle it. So spending an extra $1.50 or something like that, you get one for free, and it kind of gets people introduced to both series, because people will look at the front cover for issue 1 and it might put them off, but if they read the issue, then they'll realize that it's not anything like the front cover.
that's true,
because I did it on purpose so that people would judge it, plus it's just funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's a treat. Vic, I think you got a chance to read it too. The humor, I think, is and the style.
You didn't even show my favorite panel. I don't think we could show it here, but there's a part where they're in the dark and you only see their eyeballs.
Let's see.
That was my favorite one.
Did I miss it?
Scooby-Doo moment.
It's when
it's going to be down. It's like
it's going to be down. They fall down, and then
it's like
you only see the
2 sets
of eyeballs.
Like nope, up more.
Up more.
Oh, you don't have the full volume on there, do you?
Oh, I don't. I only have a few pages. Okay. Well, that would just mean to say that you had to go check out the free book to understand, or the free pages that to find that page that Vic was talking about.
And if you go back and look at the inside cover of Krunk Self-Adventures, you'll also see that I incorporated those little eyeballs into the inside front cover.
So apparently that
I made it so that people, when they read through it, they start realizing how many hidden eggs there are in each one. There are so many different little things that I incorporated into it. So I didn't go with the action normal. A lot of comics, they'll go with action, they'll go with fighting. There's no fighting in any of this. This is all just pure just storytelling all the way through. And it's just the approach I did with it, and I wanted to make sure I ensured that it was cute and funny at the same time, and it worked for all ages.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. It appeals to both young audiences and older audiences, because it's just a fun book, and I think that's also what stands out to me about this. It is not like the typical brawling superhero, or it's a fun, humorous. The characters here are so cool. If you have noticed here, this is the genie, and we also have his unicorn stallion there. So these are some
Patches.
of this. Yes, there's the characters that supporting characters that are in this. But just like you said, these are the first book sets up the premise, which is they go throughout time. And what was exactly Charles, if you want to talk a little bit about how they're going back through time and what exactly happens as they're going back through time. There's specific things that they're addressing when they go back through time.
Basically, when I created it, I had to come up with the theme, and I focused on because when you look at the media and how everything is going, it's just the massive spread of misinformation that's going around. And I wanted to make a point that you can turn any story around. You can even see Mona Lisa.
That's the true Mona Lisa, right?
That's the true Mona Lisa.
And that's so funny, because you've taken obviously it's almost a flashpoint type of thing where when people talk about what is your definition of misinformation, and how is that applied to, that I always get annoyed when people say it's not my truth. And it's like, what do you mean? There's like truth and fact. And then when you say it's not my truth, then it's like, well, what is that really? And I think that's what you're doing with this comic is like, it's misinformation throughout history. You're telling it through a comical way, like what?
Yeah, I'm basically making fun of how much information people will change, and it can be simple things. It's kind of like when, I don't know if you ever went through the experiment, maybe Erfan ever in school. I remember in high school they went through the little experiment, and the teacher said something and whispered to a person, yes. And then that person whispered. By the time it reached the end, yes. It was not the same narrative at all.
Exactly.
That's basically what I'm poking at is like how easy it is. So like the first 2 issues focuses on the bubonic plague and how humans really just wanted to eradicate magical beings and get rid of them. Oh. And so I twisted it around, and that's why, like, during European times, you had dragons, elves, orcs, mages, all this magical stuff, and then all of a sudden it just fizzled out and just disappeared at the end of European times. And that's basically what I'm making fun of, is like they changed how history was and called it the bubonic plague, when it was really like people went through and tried getting rid of all magical beings.
There's the twist. So we have Charles from the Department of Truth letting us all know what really the bubonic plague was all about. All right, so that's a nice overall thing and overview of what Krunk is about. So let's go into our final drawing challenge. And we thought it'd be fun because Erfan obviously is the artist for Essence. And, I thought we were all talking about, like, what can we do for the 3rd drawing challenge? And I think we came to one of the ideas that we posed was, like, let's see Erfan do an interpretation of a character from Krunk. And, then it was to figure out, like, what character would that be? And one of the really funny, I mean, they're all funny characters in their own right, but one of the really funny ones was the genie. And this character you see in the upper right hand or left hand corner here. He has some unique qualities. He has a unique way of expressing himself. I'm going to let Charles talk about the genie and his story as we do this live drawing. But I'm also so interested in seeing what Erfan and what Vic do, because I'd like to see their interpretations of this particular genie. So if you want to draw along with us, let me zoom in here and you do a screen capture of it. He has a very unique look and a very unique color palette for his clothing. And dig these pants. Look at these see-through pants.
They're like Egyptian like see-through
with sparkles. Yeah. So let me see if I can get another picture. Here's another. He has a different expression here. Hey, I just noticed is it his belt? Oh, let me see. Yeah. So check this out. I'm so excited to see what people are going to do. If you're going to draw along with us, this is the genie character. Let me get the clock started and.
Oh, geez. Phil said, draw Gerald as the Krunk genie.
No. leave Gerald out of it. No one needs to see that. No. In fact, now I got that image stuck in my head.
Well, Erfan, technically, he can't see your picture until he's done. Until you're done. So you could do just about it. Keep the tension there.
Oh yes, okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna pretend like we didn't hear that, but I want our audience, if you want to draw along with us, do a screen capture of this. This is the genie, and as we draw along, Charles is going to talk a little bit more about, I guess, all the supporting characters, but in particular the genie and his particular journey, his role, up to these first 2 issues. And if you don't want to, I don't want you to spoil anything, but it'd be kind of neat to hear maybe what you're planning to do without being spoilery with him in the first issues.
So Carl, I knew that I wanted to do him the way he was. Because his lamp isn't a lamp; it's actually a closet. Mm-hmm. So I wanted it to be. I wanted him to be a different character, and I didn't do it to sexualize it. I just did it because it was funny and creative and different. Uh-huh. And I needed a character that was very sassy and outspoken, and I think a lot of it came from Stewie and what's the alien's name from American Dad? Roger.
Okay.
Roger and Stewie were kind of like the inspirations behind that. And then like the closet, I thought about today's modern day like society, and I was like, you know what, it would be funny if the lamp was actually a closet, because like if he feels threatened, he can go and hide in the closet.
Okay. All right.
So but I got his the inspiration for him came from those two, but the physique and the physical appearance came from a George Michael appearance. Like I was like, you know, make him kind of like a George Michael-esque type of character. Obviously, don't copy it, but like it came out really well. The way he did it was perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And then for patches, I can't remember where I got patches from. It was so long ago that I came up with it, but
it wasn't My Little
obviously
Pony?
I needed to have some kind of a sidekick, and a unicorn with a gay genie felt appropriate.
So it wasn't My Little Pony? Like
no, it was not My Little Pony.
It wasn't My Little Pony? Okay.
But yeah, patches was a completely random thing, but I felt like it wouldn't be the same without having Carl have some kind of an animal, and I was like, a unicorn fits perfectly, and it would fit really well for like the young girls and stuff too, because unicorns and young kids goes pretty good together. And then Krunk, even though he's not like the most humorous, the main characters, like, so like if you look at Fairly Odd Parents was a really fun show for me when even today I'd probably still watch it, but Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy wasn't really actually like, even though he was the main character, he wasn't the funniest. It was actually Wanda and I forget the other genie's name. But he's kind of the idiot genie.
Cosmo? I think Vic said
Cosmo. Yep,
Vic said that, yeah.
And I just remember him going like, ooh, shiny penny, and like grabbing it. And then he catches a bumblebee, and the bumblebee gets killed. And he's like, no. I knew for 10 seconds. But that was like one of my favorite episodes. But the way they had that, so and the way they have, if you've ever seen No Game No Life or heard of it, they had the comedic. So you always want like a comedy character. So like Meg, for example, Regalia was kind of like a Meg-ish type character from Family Guy, where something bad's constantly happening to her. And so I wanted like that similarity, but obviously I wanted it in its own unique way. So by having these three characters and then having them be like a cursed witch lady that's immortal, that can't die, genie, which is immortal, that can't die, and then the unicorn is just a mythical creature that's attached to the genie, so can't die, and then Krunk, who's an elf, which is immortal, can't die. So I had to come up with the immortal theme aspect to it. So I needed supporting characters that complemented Krunk, because Krunk is like a skater punk elf that's like 16, 17 years old. So I needed the supporting characters to add the humor into his story.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, for some reason, the George Michael part of it for the genie. You know, I have like that Jitterbug song stuck in my head, you know.
You're welcome.
You totally like ruined my day in the sense now I'm going to have that same song like cycling in my head.
You put the boom boom into my heart.
So you could. Oh, well, speaking of which, you know, just to go on another subject here, you know, while we're live drawing, let's talk a little bit about you. One fun fact that I learned about Charles, and this was something I just learned last week, is that you're taking vocal lessons. You're an aspiring singer. It's like you sent me a track, and I was like, wow. It's like not only is Charles going to take over the whole video game, animation, comic genres, he's also going to take over the pop music scene with his outstanding vocals. So is this something that you've always wanted to do? I mean, is this something that you newly discovered? Like what made you want to, take vocal lessons?
I started taking lessons when I was 18, 19, because I wanted to do something that was influential. But I had to stop for a while because I had problems with sinus infections. Like I had them 3-4 times a year, constant bronchitis. I had some chronic fatigue issues. I was just basically tired all the time. I was struggling. It wasn't until I was 30 that I actually started getting over some of that. I went on a CPAP machine to help the breathing because I would only get sick at nighttime. And I only did the CPAP machine for about 3 to 6 months, and basically it reversed a lot of the issues that I had. And I haven't actually had a sinus infection in 4 years. So
that allowed you to pursue your.
It's allowed me to have the energy level that I have now, and the drive. I'd probably be a lot further than I would be, but I mean, the level of depression and the level of struggles that you have to go through when you're being basically sick all the time, it's crazy. But it helped shape me into the person that I am now.
And I think that's a good lesson to just to talk to impart on our viewers, is that even though you had these health challenges, it didn't stop you from what you want to do today. Now that you've overcome it, and not only you're pursuing, you're not letting that that what you call lost time. I'm going to say it's all in due time. Maybe you weren't meant to like do the.
I look at it as like it shaped me into the person I am today. It helped shape me into the kind of person I am. It taught me a lot, and without the experience that I've gained from all of that, I might not, like Krunk and Essence and all that, it wouldn't be what it is now.
Right.
So
exactly.
You turn that negative into something positive, and look at it as it's meant to happen. It's like the universe pushing you in a direction. Oh, you're not ready yet. You need to wait. You need to experience this stuff so that you can actually be in the situation and all that. So, I mean, it's a unique way of looking at it, I guess, or there's a lot of people that I know would look at it in that way. It's just, I just look at it as a positive, even though it was a really bad time, but at least something good came out of it.
Yeah. And that's the message that I would like to say, is that you didn't let something like that hold you back. And, sure, it's what you would think is like maybe later on in your life to do this, but you're going full speed ahead. I mean, you're pursuing your dreams to put out this independent books. You have a studio. It's not just one book; it's several things. You're writing, you're creating, and then you're also singing at the same time. It's like, hey, you could actually do the soundtrack for any of your animated movies in the future. Do you think about that? There could be a Krunk theme song, and you could definitely do that. I just think it could be like one of those "Let It Go" type songs, or the Encanto is a big movie that my nieces are really fond of, and there's a song.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't really talk about Bruno. We don't really talk about Krunk. We don't really talk about the genie. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny that you could probably maybe do your own soundtrack. I think that'd be kind of fun. So is there like in terms of your vocal, your singing ambitions? What are your goals for that?
Erfan, you're doing a great job of drawing Gerald as the genie.
I was trying to get away from that as much fun.
So what was the question again? I had to get in there because I thought.
Oh yeah. I was gonna just say, is like, what would be your dream in terms of in terms of singing? What would you?
Right now, it's just getting myself to see where I can be. Because obviously, as you get older, there are limits. And I'm just seeing if I'll be able to get to my goal within the next year or so. I have challenges that other people don't have when it comes to singing, because people will refer to it as like a head voice where you feel vibrations in your forehead, but I actually don't even have any of that. So I can hit the notes, but I can't feel it. So it creates a little bit of I'm still learning how to hit those specific notes.
I see.
Consistently. all the way through. And it's like what my instructor just recently said. It's there, and you're hitting it, but it's like hitting a target, where like if you're shooting a darts or you're hitting like a bullseye, I'm like right outside the bullseye. So it's there, it's on the target, but it's not on the bullseye.
I see. So that means that we're gonna have to wait at least until
I get to where I can do certain songs, and I can do pretty decent with certain things. But there's other aspects that I'm still figuring out and learning. And once I actually learn how to nail it down, I'll probably be decent. I won't say I'm the best or anything like that. I won't be like the most amazing thing, but hopefully something that somebody will listen to, or people will listen to. Not somebody, but some people. That was one fan. It would be Gerald.
I was gonna say we have to wait at least till 2025 maybe for your first Grammy, and then after that, it's just gonna be all like hit after hit after hit. You'll be multi-platinum. It's just and you're gonna have that. You're gonna have to like decide: do I want to do comic books still, or do I just want to go on tour for the 8th time world tour? But I think it's neat. I really respect that that you're pursuing your dream on both fronts. You can write comics and you can still sing at this.
Erfan looks like he's having fun, by the way.
I'm not looking. I am not looking.
Oh, and Phil Leon says Gerald is secretly a K-pop singer that dresses as a genie.
Oh, my secret is out.
You've been told.
I've been told. All right, we got just over 2.5 minutes left in this challenge. So heads up to anybody that's drawing along with us. Get your finishing touches on there, and we can check out your artwork. So regarding the genie, without spoiling anything, like can you reveal anything about his particular character journey? Is like what is he going to be?
So he's just the sassy. He's got it. Like I said, I got a lot of my inspiration from for his character from Roger and Stewie. So he's going to be the sassy, but I didn't want it to be like I didn't want it to be the same character style. I still wanted him to have his own personality separated from those two. Like when you look at Stewie and you look at Roger, they're both basically the same character. But I wanted Carl to have his own unique twist and his own unique style to him. So he's like the sassy genie that just doesn't really care about anybody else, and he's self-serving. But he has the unicorn as a sidekick, and people will get to learn about the unicorn as it goes. But it's meant to be he's got his own little twist to him that makes him unique and fun to connect with, like in his personality.
So do you see the genie having his own character journey, like he's gonna get
he's got
lose
his
his
own
sass?
come to Jesus
Moment?
Story, I guess is what will happen.
Oh, that'll be kind of funny. That'll be kind of funny to see what happens.
Yeah, all of the characters have their journeys. So basically what I'm planning on doing with like season 1 is Krunk is going to be focused on learning about the characters and why they are the way they are. So like we're going to get to learn about Carl, we're going to get to learn about Patches, we're going to get to learn about Regalia, why Grandpappy did what he did. So I don't know if it'll end up spanning out to multiple seasons on that one or not, because I have to really put everything together. It's not as hard as Essence, so I don't have to put as much thought into it. I just have to know the direction that I'm going.
Right.
And there's certain things that I don't want to reveal. So like Regalia is not going to happen right away. She's going to happen later.
So is that tough?
Is it hard to balance the two? Like you go from writing Essence, which is totally different.
So right now, I have half of issue 4. So we've got 3 issues for Krunk basically done. But I'm focused on season 1 of Essence at the moment. Like I focused on cleaning up my website. I focused on the Kickstarter. And then I'm focusing on like when I have downtime or free time, I have it on my phone where I'm doing the Essence script, but like when I'm like at my computer, I'm focused on all the other stuff, like the files and whatnot. So I'm trying to make sure that I have like I'm focusing on one specific thing. I'm not like jumping around. So he's not working on another issue of Krunk right now, like full blast, because obviously funds are a major part of it too, because it's hard paying for both series at the same time. And then I'm going to be attending all these shows, which I've already paid for all the shows so far. But I've got to make sure to pay Erfan. I've got to make sure to pay Fariza. I've got to make sure to pay the letterist. I've got to pay all that stuff. So it's very expensive. It's worth it, but it's expensive. So I have to find a way to balance it.
It's like running a business. You know, you're you know, not only you're a creator, you're also an entrepreneur, and then you're also a vocalist at the same time. Okay, but
it says Jarrell is secretly a K-pop singer that dresses as a genie.
My secret is out, and I'm going to actually the time expired, so pencils down, and oh my gosh, Erfan, you always knock it out of the park. Let's
you should have added a text bubble and like had it say like "Hey boys" or something like that.
It can still happen. It can still happen. Erfan, this looks great. Can you zoom in? Let's take a gander at this.
Suddenly it becomes a JoJo character.
Yeah, I was gonna say JoJo Bizarre
JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Yeah, it fit right in there. It fit right in there completely. And I see no resemblance to me, so thank you very much. That's not me at all.
Well, I told you I had to keep attention there.
I did so. That's a cool genie. I would actually think it'd be kind of cool if Erfan were to do like maybe you could do like a artist doing artist interpretations of renditions of like, you know, you can get is it Kyle? You said Kyle. Kyle, yeah. He can do a Conrad as a pinup in maybe in an Essence book, and then here we have the genie that can be in Krunk. And look at those textures. He put textures in there, Vic. Yeah, he found time. He found time to do that. Oh, and those are those brushes that we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just so cool, so cool. Vic, do you mind if I solo you out? Okay, let me.
Yeah, there you go. I'll put my.
Oh, look at that. I love the pursed lips.
Awesome.
The smoker.
All right, I sent you. Juan sent me that.
Okay, I got it.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right.
I turned my head because I'm looking at the screen, responding to Juan messaging me, and I turn and I see Vic's picture.
Yeah, Vic, you want to talk about your design choices?
Oh, I just wanted to keep it a little on the funnier side because it's a funny book.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I know he said George Michael, and I was like, oh, you know what? And then he started mentioning Fairly Odd Parents, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like Johnny Bravo. I thought of Johnny Bravo. So I was like,
yeah.
I took a little inspiration from that.
It does have a Johnny Bravo vibe to it. Here, let me. Fantastic work, Vic.
That just brings me to Ed and Eddie too, like Powerpuff Girls. That brings back memories.
That's true. Hey, let's share wands here. Look at this.
Oh, very cool.
This looks like it could have been a cross between. Oops, let me make it so it's full screen. It reminds me of Regalia crossed with the genie, crossed with who's the guitarist from Rolling Stones?
I don't know.
Keith Richards. That's like that. Like if those all things were all combined together, that just looks great. Yeah. All right. And while I get my art cam up, Vic, I don't know if you want to like check and see if anybody in the comments.
Sarah,
go ahead. Yeah. Oh man, look at that.
She nailed it. She nailed the pose, everything.
Yeah.
Like the crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes. Oh,
you nailed Gerald's eyes on that one.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be my episode of just complete, like, let's just let's just add on top, let's pile on. And actually, where is my art cam? I think my art cam went down.
Oh yeah, it came up.
Oh, did it? Let me restart it. Okay, there it is. Window. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, so oops. So I kind of gave I remember, was it Hercules? It was the Disney movie, and also Gaston. Remember Gaston from Beauty and the Beast?
Oh yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like mighty Gaston. I kind of like I had like a little bit of a Gaston vibe. I wanted to give him that really pronounced chin.
He made sure to add twinkles into the legs. He was very sure to add that.
Yeah, and the Speedos. He's wearing the Speedos there too. So a fun character, and I encourage everybody, just to let me get rid of this from the screen. Remove. This concludes our drawing challenges. I guess if anybody wants to, hasn't got a chance to share their drawing, just let us know, because we're still going to round out the show. Here we're going to be closing it out. But I really wanted to commend, Charles and Erfan in terms of Essence is awesome. It's a book. If you had any doubts about it in your audience, you can look at the very first issue or first volume for free. So there's no risk at all. Check it out and see if you like it. And if you do, come back in March, like and follow Charles at the in the links below, and you're gonna have an opportunity to get to buy the printed book volume 1, but also support him. And when volume 2 is ready to go, and there's all going to be there's tiers where you can get issue 1, issue 2. He mentioned there's going to be all sorts of neat little. I think you mentioned stickers and there's other stuff that you're going to be putting, Charles. But what other
stickers, pins, smaller items right now. Later on, I'll do T-shirts. But like I said, when time is one of the biggest things. So investing in doing T-shirts and doing products like that, it also requires making sure that you're able to package it all. And with working a 9-hour day and then working weekends and then doing shows and then writing, you want to be able to I'd rather focus on the book and get the story out there so that people start sharing it, and then hopefully get a few volumes out and then get picked up by Netflix or Nickelodeon or one of those shows. And what I'll do is I'll probably end up trying to lease it for a season or 2 seasons or something like that, so that it still remains under my control at the end.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that when I was talking to you about it, is not as an indie creator, I think you can definitely go mainstream in terms of getting your creation out there, but you can still keep that independent spirit, just as long as you never compromise your vision. And I think it's going to be awesome. I think it'd be really neat to see Essence toys, Krunk toys, see things.
There's so many different toys. You've got all those characters, and it's not just the characters. You've got the little guardians, so you can create those. I could have Erfan. He could create a clock design. You can put a clock together, so it would be his art, and it would be the different. You've got 12 different guardians. You got all the different times, and Vitus could actually be in the center.
Doing the clock hands, it's Vitus. Oh, anyway.
She'll be using her hair.
Yeah, her hair, yes. So that could be a future thing. It'd be neat, actually, even to see, I could see chibi versions of your characters. It's just going to be really cool to see all the different. There's
so many different possibilities with it, and that's what makes it such a great series. Is it's not every series. I'm not saying they don't, but it's not every series is able to do that.
Right. Well, I can tell you, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on the show again. And before we round it out, I'm going to actually let Vic. Is there anything else you would like to any other burning questions you'd like to ask of Charles or Erfan before we round out the show?
No, I think we got it. Covered everything.
I think
we're good. I think Kickstarter. Your Kickstarter's coming out in March and everything. So I can't wait for those other books to come out. after I was done reading that, the first one you have on your website. I was like, okay,
More.
I'm going to need more of this.
More.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm excited about both of. I'm really excited about Volume 3 for Essence, and then issue 3 of Krunk is really good too. And what I'm trying to do is, like I said, is keep them side by side. So if I can raise enough funds for it, then I can print both of them simultaneously. And then when somebody buys the issue 2 of Krunk or of Essence, they get issue 2 of Krunk with it. So it just makes it easy. So that both my brand gets out there, they get to know 2 series, and they feel like they're getting a little extra. Instead of spending $20, they're getting $25 worth of value.
Yeah. I like your philosophy.
Hook them on both at one time.
Yeah. Get them hooked on Krunk. And Essence. It's like those are 2 drugs. So like Essence and Krunk.
Chris is he's a store owner. He came on earlier, and he's a super big Krunk fan. He's like, when's the next issue coming out?
Yeah, well, it's coming out soon. So that being said, let's round off the show. We're gonna have our Oscar speeches, and it's appropriate because I think that Essence is gonna go there. I think Essence is gonna could say, maybe they could get an Oscar. And I think Charles is going to get a Grammy for his future pop album that he's going to put together. And Erfan, he's getting all sorts of awards in Indonesia already. So we're just waiting for that list. And when you put together that art book, you let me know. I will pay. It has to be slow boated to America. I will get your art book. But let's start out with
we'll order 2. We'll order 2 at the same time so we could save on shipping.
Yes, and then I can pay for the plane ticket to go meet Vic, and I will get it shipped to Vic, and I'll go meet Vic. But let's do the Oscar speech part of it. We'll start with you, Erfan. I know we'll put you on the spot.
I'm not prepared for this.
you can say whatever you want. But anyway, the mic is yours.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, just buy Krunk and Essence. I think. I don't know. It's going to be a fun journey, of course. And whenever you can get the books, just get it. I think that's it. I don't prepare for this.
You're a man of few words, but you let your artwork speak for you. So I'm going to say
it speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes already. And I was going to say this is when you
2
said
volumes so far. No.
2 volumes. I just thought, Erfan, when we gave you the mic, the first thing you said, well, I'm just going to say bye. And I was like, what does he mean by bye? And then he said, buy the book. And I was like, oh, buy the book. I thought you were just going to say, bye, I'm out of here. I have nothing else to say to you guys, whatever. But Erfan, it was great to have you on the show. I always
thank you very much.
Love your artwork. I love that you're collaborating with Charles. So thank you so much. And Charles, let's hear your Oscar speech.
All right. So all I can say is the best thing that can be done is share this around with friends and family. You don't have to spend money to actually get involved. Showing support by showing up to the shows, spreading it with friends, sharing it around will help build up the community around it, and it will allow me to offer free content for those that actually support it. Eventually we'll be able to release more volumes. We'll be able to release the digital content for free so that people can actually be in tune with it. And once we actually start getting to put more content out, then we'll be able to release a lot faster, and I'll be able to focus more of my time on it. So it's all about getting involvement, because I'd like to see it, and I'm sure Erfan would love to see it get animated and get it out there as like a board game, video game, all of that stuff, and just get to see people's reactions when we actually get to show, because seeing like the kids and the families and seeing their reactions and how excited everybody gets, that's one of the more fun parts about it, is just being involved in the community. So just go out and get involved with it.
Oh, that's great. I just want to say that it's not just Erfan and you. Vic and I want to see it. It's like we want to see all of the things. I'll have my Christmas list set up for all the board game, the video game, the animated series, the T-shirts. I don't even know if you can.
He's gonna call me up and be like, "Do you take payment plans?"
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting ready to go to donate some blood so I can afford, to buy all the essence stuff. But it's so great. It's always been an honor to have you guys on the show. That's why we have you on for the second time. And I would just like to tell our audience, keep your like and subscribe, follow these guys for their artwork, for their passion, for their Kickstarter that's going to be coming out in March. And so that way you can make another indie creation, come to fruition and make this dream a reality. That being said, we'd like to end our show talking about our charity partner. And let me change the banner here at the bottom. And let me share one screen. So add to stream. And that charity partner is Golden Fight. And Golden Fight is an organization that I like to say is both small and large enough. Small in the sense that they're not an international, super huge corporate entity that is everywhere. They have a very focused approach, which is in my neck of the woods, the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States. And this is where they're huge. Golden Fight's mission is to help families who have children that are dealing with very difficult diseases like cancer. And when these families are focusing on the healing of their child, inevitably they will have financial difficulties. And that's where Golden Fight comes in a very huge way. When they raise money, they're a charity organization. When they raise money, 100% of the money they raise goes to those families. I used to think it was like maybe 97 or 98%, with only like maybe that 1 or that 2 or 3% that would go towards taking care of administrative things. But no, it's 100%. 100% of that money that they raise goes to those families, so parents can focus on the healing of their child. So please go to goldenfight.org, check them out, read about them. We are not financially tied to them in any way. We just are friends with their leadership, and they volunteer to raise funds for these families out of the kindness of their hearts. And we couldn't be prouder to be associated with any other charity group. We do have some things that we're planning to partner with them in the near future. Details to come. One of them is a kids coloring book, activity book. We just need to finalize the details and make sure that the leadership Golden Fight is on board. But it's going to be a really good thing. It's going to feature a lot of our former guests that have been here on Let It Out and part of the Artist Roundtable, and the theme is going to be, obviously about caring and those kids. We want to make sure that we can give them something that they would be really happy to color, as well as we want to offer it as a fundraiser opportunity a little later on to the public, so we can help do our bit to help Golden Fight. So let me close this out. And and Vic has really been on top of it. Look at the bottom. This is how you can like and follow Charles and Erfan. It would warm my heart if you could definitely do that today after the show when it's completely over with. Follow them, like and subscribe. Look in March for all the activity on a crowdfunding side,
and also around August or October-ish. We'll be doing another Kickstarter for Volume 3. We'll try to do it a little ahead of time so that we can actually get people prepared, so that we can actually print it before Christmas happens and have it distributed before Christmas.
Wow. I don't even want to think about Christmas since we just got past it, and now we're thinking about let's plan ahead. This is Charles at work. His mind is always thinking about the next date to get things going. And yeah, that's good, because we want more essence. We want more Krunk. We're happy to have you and Erfan here again on the show. So anyway, I'm going to close out the show here, and I want to thank our audience for participating and helping us support these indie creators. So catch us next Friday Freestyle. We're going to be very active on social media. Vic has made it his mission to make sure that the world knows about ComicsCast and all of our great indie creators that we have guests on here. So yes, look for us for the next show coming up soon. So we will see you on the interwebs. We'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
All right. You guys have a good one.
All right, later.
Bye.
Oops.
Oh.